Don't you wait till... Do I get to read this one? To these Boy Scouts?
Yeah, which
P1.
P1? Yeah, you got it.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We're going to begin our meeting this evening with a roll call from our city clerk, Kathy Valdez.
The record shall reflect that all members are present.
And we're honored tonight to have Boy Scout Troop 709 of Vista to present the flag and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Call the colors
Hello?
forward.
Hello? Oh. Color guard attention. Audience, please rise. Color guard advance. Scout salute. Those non-uniforms, please place your right hand over your heart. Color guard, present the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard, post the colors. Color guard dismissed.
Thank you.
2, audience, you may be seated.
Well done, Scouts. Tonight we're honored to have Pastor Chuck Marion with us from North Hills Baptist Church lead us in an invocation.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you for the privilege of offering the invocation today. I count it a great privilege to live and work in the city of Vista, and though I haven't lived here for a year, I've already taken notice of the care and enthusiasm that this council has for the city, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. Thank you. Let's pray. Father in heaven, first and foremost, I thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. I thank you that he offers salvation to all, including those who live in this city that we love. I pray that the residents of Vista would find you as they seek for peace, hope, and joy, particularly during this Christmas season. I thank you for these public servants who have given a portion of their lives solely for the benefit of this great city. You ordained for governments to rule and for government officials to make decisions for their jurisdiction, so we thank you for these officials who have been placed here ultimately by you. This evening, Father, I ask that you would be with the mayor and the city council, that they would have wisdom as they make decisions for our city. Help them to do what is best, not necessarily what is easiest. Give them the boldness and courage to stand up for what is right as they seek to help this city. I also pray that there would be civility in all oral communications. We all have the tendency to be passionate about things that are near to our heart, but I ask that our passion would not interfere with our responsibility to be caring and civil with our fellow man. I thank you for the Christmas season and for sending your Son to this earth to save us. In his name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Now our city clerk, Kathy Valdez, has some procedural items.
Thank you, Mayor. In accordance with the Brown Act, I'd like to announce that as a result of convening simultaneous meetings, the members of the Buena Sanitation District will receive compensation of $147.75 for the district meeting pursuant to Buena Sanitation District Ordinance 2006-1. I would like to remind everyone that the Vista Municipal Code requires members of the public to observe order and decorum at the meeting and to conduct themselves in a courteous manner. The ordinance was adopted to allow for public input and to facilitate city business without disruption of the meeting. Applause is appropriate for items listed under the presentation portion of the agenda only. Students wishing to receive credit for attending this evening's meeting must stay for a minimum of 1 hour. However, we ask that you stay for the completion of discussion rather than leaving in the middle of an item. When you're ready to leave, you may ask one of the staff at the back of the room to sign your paper. Thank you.
Thank you. To speak on an item on our agenda this evening, please fill out a speaker slip with the number of the item that you'd like to speak on. Give it to the clerk, secretary, staff here at the dais. Speaker slips are available on the table just outside the city council chambers. For members of the public participating via Zoom, you may use the raise your hand feature to indicate that you'd like to speak, or by pressing *9 on your phone. We will announce when to raise your hand to indicate that you'd like to make a comment on the specific item being discussed. Speakers will have 3 minutes each to address the city council. Next, we'll move to our city manager, John Conley, for the approval of our agenda, noting that item D1 has been removed from the agenda. City manager, are there any other changes to our agenda this evening?
No other changes, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do have 4 presentations this evening, and I'd like to ask the council to join me at the rostrum. We can make those presentations. Okay, our first proclamation this evening is one declaring December 13th, 2023 as Carter Christopherson Conley Day in the city of Vista. And I want to invite Councilmember Joe Green to make this presentation. I'd also like to call Carter to come forward to receive it. Councilmember?
Thank you, sir. All right, give it up for Carter. Come on. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I asked to give this proclamation. I've known Carter since he was in grade school. He attended Beaumont Elementary School, and he used to be so much smaller. And he was a Lake Elementary School kid for the rest of the time. They live right around the corner from me, so I drive by their house pretty much every day. And John Conley, not our city manager, JP, makes amazing brisket. So if you guys ever need some brisket, drive down Coventry in Beaumont. You'll see it smoking by the Conley house. But they're a great festive family, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to, award this to Carter and, let him know how awesome we think he is here in Vista. So with that said, are you ready? Just checking this out. Whereas Carter Christopherson Conley has been awarded the highest rank in Boy Scouting, the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout. This is an achievement which represents many years of hard work and steadfast devotion to the longstanding principles and values of Scouting. And whereas as a dedicated Boy Scout, Carter has been active in Scouting for over 10 years. Climbing in the ranks in Cub Scouting and joining his father's former Boy Scout troop, 709, Carter has shown support for and helped with numerous community service projects and earned 25 merit badges and served in a variety of leadership positions. And whereas Carter raised money and obtained resources for his Eagle Scout service project with the assistance of his fellow scouts, his leaders, friends, and family, he was able to oversee the installation of a Put in a Cup mural for his alma mater. So he did graduate from Lake Elementary School in Oceanside. This mural benefits the youth and adults who visit the campus daily. Whereas Carter has adapted skills learned in Scouting to better his community in leadership roles. He is a leader on and off the field, an amazing goalie, by the way, try to sneak one past this guy, in both competitive and high school sports. Carter has also served his community on the Vista Unified School District Guiding Coalition. And I see you there actually when we're there. So, whereas the Vista City Council offers its sincere appreciation and gratitude to Carter for setting an example for youth through his high level of personal achievement, leadership, and community service. He has made great strides to complete his service project and achieve the rank of Eagle Scout. Now, therefore, Here it comes. What was all that for? The mayor and the members of the Vista City Council commend Carter Conley for upholding and maintaining the proud tradition of scouting, guiding his daily life by the scout oath and law, and do hereby proclaim Wednesday, that's all day tomorrow, December 13th, 2023, as Carter Christopherson Conley Day in the city of Vista. Grab that, open that. This is you, buddy. Now, real quick, we're going to be handing these out to everybody tonight, but I want to make sure you guys know what these are. These are resident reward tokens. On the back of them is the mission of the city of Vista. The mission of the city is this. The city's dedicated to providing exceptional services, to improving Vista's quality of life, and to enhancing the uniqueness of the Vista community. Carter Conley exemplifies all of that. So once again, give it up for our newest Eagle Scout, Mr. Carter Conley.
Okay. Our next presentation is a letter of appreciation to all of the individuals, city employees, and otherwise who contributed to the success of the City of Vista's Emergency Medical Technician Program. As I read the letter, I'd like to call forward to be recognized Chris Ahrens, Tracy Bailey, Captain Jeff Bauer, Sal Castaneda, Battalion Chief Sam Craig, Deputy Chief Brett Davidson, Derek Freed, Deputy Chief Robert Ford. Go ahead and come on down. Jeff Guzdeka, Maya Hodge, Captain Brendan Hems, Justin Hennon, Brent Nogel, Dominic Puccio, Roxanne Rautoshin, Jeffrey Reyes, Michael Saldana, Jacob Shumate, Maruf Suleiman, Adrian Valdez, Ian Wong Welch, and Division Chief Stephen Wecklich. I'm going to ask the council to help pass these out to our honorees, if you would, please. Yeah. Just go ahead and you want to hand one of those to every firefighter and paramedic that we've got up here, and an EMT. This letter of appreciation reads as follows. Today we come together to extend our heartfelt gratitude and recognition to an exceptional group of individuals who have played a pivotal role in the success of our Emergency Medical Technician Program. In this moment of appreciation, we acknowledge Engineer Chris Ahrens for his invaluable assistance in new hire testing and interviews, and Human Resources Analyst Tracy Bailey for her adept coordination of recruitment and testing, as well as the entire Human Resources team for seamless onboarding of our EMT positions. Captain Jeff Bauer stands out as a dedicated EMT instructor, focusing on imparting crucial basic life support, or BLS, skills, while firefighter paramedic Sal Castaneda has been a guiding force, mentoring new EMTs stationed at Station 5. Battalion Chief Sam Craig's meticulous preparation of the initial orientation academy outline and evaluation documents has set a strong foundation. Deputy Chief Brett Davidson's efforts have been instrumental in shepherding the EMT program through the approval process with the City Council. Fleet Services has been an unsung hero, providing invaluable assistance in the repair and upfitting of our BLS ambulances. Engineer Derek Freed has been the architect behind our comprehensive EMS academy schedule and curriculum, covering driver training, EMS documentation, EMT skills, and patient simulations. Deputy Chief Robert Ford's coordination of the upfitting of ambulances, and Engineer Jeff Gazdeka, hope I said that right, Jeff, leadership in driving training have further enriched our program. Maya Hodge's dedication to coordinating the preparation of council reports and ongoing budget support has been instrumental. And Captain Brendan Hams has admirably overseen the program as administrative captain, leading the development of policies and materials and coordinating the onboarding orientation period. Firefighter-paramedic Justin Hennon, along with firefighter-paramedic Brent Nogel and firefighter-paramedic Dominic Puccio, have each played unique roles contributing to the success of our program. Emergency Services Officer Roxanne Rautoshin has been a multifaceted force, from procuring BLS supplies and equipment to enhancing ambulance billing documentation and providing leadership in EMT orientation. Firefighter-paramedics Jeffrey Reyes, Michael Saldana, Jacob Shumate, Maruf Suleiman, Adrian Valdez, and Ian Wong Welch have been the backbone of our EMS Academy, each contributing their expertise to different facets of the program. Division Chief Steve Wecklich has provided critical support, assisting Chief Davidson in the preparation of the program study. Together, these individuals have not only elevated our EMT program, but have also exemplified the spirit of service that defines our community. Their commitment and dedication ensure that Vista remains safer and a safer and a healthier place for all residents. Now, on behalf of myself and the City Council, we extend our deepest appreciation to each of these outstanding individuals. Your extraordinary contributions have not gone unnoticed, and we thank you for your unwavering commitment to the well-being of our community.
Yeah, guys, get out of the way.
Providing so good. I feel like now I need to sit up straight, like throat, you know? Yes. Hopefully I didn't give you no people. Right. This is cool. I'll just stand right for the Chris. Justin, get over. Don't worry, if you call 911, there's a lot still out there. Yeah, exactly. A few of them aren't even going to get their reports.
Okay. Our next presentation is a proclamation commending Deputies Ambat, Deputy Barr, Deputy Gillette, and Deputy Ebanks for their heroism and outstanding commitment to public service. Deputies, would you please join us at the rostrum? This proclamation reads, whereas on August 28, 2023, the Vista Sheriff's Department, responding to a distress call, reported a citizen's suicide threat. The Vista Sheriff's Department displayed exemplary coordination and swift action. Whereas Deputy Ebanks efficiently broadcast crucial information to deputies, urging a thorough search of nearby hotels, intensifying efforts after receiving a distressing photograph. Whereas Deputy Gillette's diligence led to locating the distressed citizen's vehicle, obtaining room details, and prompting Deputies Barr and Ambat to the scene. Whereas faced with an unresponsive occupant, Deputies Barr, Gillette, and Ambat exhibited courage by gaining entry, discovering the citizen hanging lifeless from a rope. Whereas their immediate life-saving efforts, including Deputy Gillette's use of trauma shears to cut the constricting rope and Deputy Ambat's CPR, resulted in the detection of a pulse and the miraculous recovery of the distressed individual. Whereas the deputies' vigilance and actions were pivotal until paramedics took over, successfully transporting the citizen to the hospital, where they reportedly are recovering well. Whereas the collective heroism of Deputy Ambat, Deputy Barr, Deputy Gillette, and Deputy Ebanks on August 28, 2023 exemplifies the highest standards of law enforcement and dedication to preserving life. And whereas a medical professional attested that their prompt actions allowed for the restoration of the individual's pulse and breathing, facilitating further healthcare interventions. Whereas I and the members of the Vista City Council and the Community Safety Commission recognize these deputies' heroism and their exceptional service and their enhancement of our community's safety and welfare. Now, therefore, I and the members of the Vista City Council do hereby proclaim and commend Deputy Ambat, Deputy Barr, Deputy Gillette, and Deputy Ebanks as heroes for their outstanding heroism and commitment to public service. Their decisive actions on August 28, 2023, embody the highest ideals of law enforcement, saving a life through their coordinated and selfless response. And members of the City Council, would you please present these deputies with our city coin?
I'll take the one behind. Let's go.
All right.
Sir, you're the lucky man. Thank you so much for your service.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you join me in giving a very well-deserved commending round of applause? We'll take up the names. See if I don't say it. Our final presentation is a proclamation commending Vista firefighters Ian Wong Welch and Zachary McCreary as heroes for their outstanding commitment to public service. Unfortunately, they are unable to join us this evening, so we're going to ask Chief Washington to accept these proclamations on their behalf. Whereas it is with deep admiration and appreciation that we celebrate the remarkable heroism displayed by our Vista firefighters Ian Wong Welch and Zachary McCreary in an unexpected and life-altering event on July 20th, 23. And whereas responding to a call for medical aid, the firefighters arrived at the home of a couple who faced a heart-wrenching struggle with infertility. Little did they know that Ian Wong Welch and Zachary McCreary found themselves in the midst of a miracle with an unexpected delivery. Whereas these heroes not only provided essential medical aid, but also offered a comforting presence in assisting the mother and her newborn as they took their first breaths in this new world. Whereas the reunion on October 2nd at Fire Station 1 marked a special moment as the firefighters were joyfully reunited with the mother, baby, and father who had been away during this surprise delivery, highlighting the profound impact of their selfless actions. Whereas I and the members of the Vista City Council and the Community Safety Commission recognize these firefighters' heroism and exceptional service by their enhancement of our community safety, health, and welfare. Now, therefore, I and the members of the Vista City Council do hereby proclaim and commend firefighters Ian Wong Welch and Zachary McCreary as heroes for their outstanding heroism and commitment to public service. Their actions on July 20th, 2023 embody the highest ideals of emergency medical service, aiding in an unexpected childbirth through their coordinated and professional response. Thank you again to all of our first responders for all of their heroism every day.
Eagle Scout, and you were an Eagle Scout in the same troop. I met him through my aunt who passed away. I refinanced J.P. Conley's mom 20 years ago. So,
Okay, that's going to bring us to the oral communications, the first oral communications portion of our meeting. Any member of the public may address the City Council on agency-related matters that are not on the agenda by requesting to speak during this section of the agenda. If you are participating via Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 now if you'd like to speak. The number of speakers heard during this segment is limited to 10, and the remaining speakers will be heard under the second oral communications item. We have a few oral communication speakers tonight. We'll begin with Anthony White, followed by Sid Rothenberg. You each have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I attended the December 7th meeting regarding the strategic plan to address homelessness, and I'm here tonight to bring up two important aspects I felt should be discussed. As a Vistan and being formerly homeless myself, I find myself deeply concerned for the well-being of my neighbors, and I speak not from ignorance, but from experience. As outlined in the plan, it's recognized the necessity for increased affordable housing. However, while the plan identifies this as an important part, it does not emphasize enough that affordable housing is not just a need, it's the single most crucial factor in preventing homelessness. As years of data have shown, anyone can experience homelessness given circumstance, and the single factor those people have in common is the lack of the ability either to keep or afford their housing. This could be attributed to any number of factors, but the fact remains, if housing had no cost, almost no one would be homeless. To truly address this issue, we must focus on rapid development of housing to make Vista affordable for Vistans. Now, the second point I want to address, while our plan emphasizes the importance of working with trauma-informed professionals like social workers, we must take a bolder step. Integrating individuals or groups who have lived experience of overcoming homelessness into our policy-making procedure is essential. Their firsthand insights are invaluable in crafting effective and empathetic solutions. The key is empathy. They can help us understand the nuances of homelessness that statistics and studies might overlook. I'm proud to be a member of one such organization, the HEAL Network, or the Homeless Experience Advocacy and Leadership Network, which is dedicated to bringing the voices of individuals with lived experience of homelessness into critical local discourse in a meaningful and effective way to move public policies towards strategies that are more focused on the individuals who are impacted by this crisis. HEAL trains and engages individuals with lived experience of homelessness to share their stories, inform dialogue on the issue of homelessness, and advocate for solutions. I encourage this city to integrate more of these organizations or individuals into their policymaking. In conclusion, if we are to make a real impact in the fight against homelessness, our focus must pivot more robustly towards increasing the availability of affordable housing as quickly as possible. This, coupled with the guidance of those who have lived through and surmounted the challenges of homelessness, will ensure our strategies are grounded in reality and empathy. Only then can we hope to see a significant and sustainable change in our community. Thank you, and I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Sid Rothenberg, followed by Barbara Gordon on Zoom.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I want to say thank you for your interest of the council members and the city manager regarding the state of the women's bathrooms in the senior center. One more time. Corrections and adaptations have been completed to the best possible without a total renovation. On the whole, the women are pleased that their complaints were heard and that the city did the best possible to accommodate them. So thank you. Secondly, I hope you will attend this Friday evening's Holly Jingle and Mingle at the Senior Center from 5 to 7. And there will be music and I imagine some dancing. So I hope we'll see some of you there, if not all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Gordon on Zoom.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. Recently, San Diego health officials highlighted the mental health related to the risk of marijuana, particularly frequent use of high-potency marijuana among our youth. I work with young people, and I am concerned the potency of THC found in these products has been on the rise for years, with a roughly 20% increase every year, according to the study published by the Society for the Study of Addiction. According to the CDC and prevention, the use of marijuana, especially high-potency marijuana, is a risk factor for psychosis, mental health disorders such as schizophrenia. Among youth, the risk is even greater. Marijuana was the primary substance used by youth ages 12 to 17 in San Diego County treatment programs, according to the county data. According to the county medical officer, almost 40% of people who died of suicide under the age of 25 in 2020 tested positive for THC. The chemical was also the #1 drug found in the system of people under 25 who died of suicide. I urge you to not ignore the risk factors, such as the perceived acceptability of marijuana. And please do not continue to prioritize the marijuana businesses in Vista. Thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, that'll bring us to our consent calendar. The recommendations on the following consent calendar will be enacted in one motion unless an item is removed from the calendar. Any member of the public may remove an item by submitting a request to speak card to the clerk secretary, by using the raise their hand feature on Zoom, or by pressing *9. Items removed from the consent calendar will be considered immediately following the adoption of the calendar. We have 12 consent items this evening, and none of them have been pulled by the public. Deputy Mayor Contreras.
I'd like to move approval of the consent calendar, please.
Councilmember Green.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That item is adopted unanimously. That'll bring us to item PH1, our first public hearing this evening, regarding the vacation of a portion of South Santa Fe Avenue. We will now open the public hearing. If any members of the public wish to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature, by pressing *9, or by submitting a request to speak card here at the dais. Speakers will be called upon after the presentation. Principal Engineer Matt Atterbury will introduce the item.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members.
Pull your microphone a little closer.
A little closer. There we go. I'm Matt Atterbury, the CIP Division, Engineering Division Manager. I'm here to introduce Bill Tuck. He's a professional licensed land surveyor and our right-of-way agent in the engineering department.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. As Matt said, I'm Bill Tuck, right-of-way agent for City of Vista. This hearing is for deciding on the vacation of a portion of public right-of-way located at 1070 South Santa Fe Avenue and the reservation of public utility easements. The applicant, AMB SSS or SSF LLC, has requested that the City of Vista vacate a portion of excess right-of-way along their property frontage. This excess public right-of-way is needed for setback requirements related to a site redevelopment project. The portion of excess right-of-way shown here, outlined in red, consists of approximately 2,300 square feet of existing private improvements. This portion of public right-of-way is located outside of the existing 100-foot right-of-way, as listed in the city circulation element, and is not needed for any future roadway improvements. This portion of the public right-of-way was acquired in 1953 by the state of California in fee for the construction of Highway 11 SD 196 VSTA, also known as South Santa Fe Avenue. In 1963, the state relinquished this right-of-way to the City of Vista for street purposes after being superseded by the construction of Highway 78. The portion of public right-of-way is currently appraised at $50,000 and is to be sold to the applicant as surplus real property under Government Code Section 54221 and City of Vista Policy 700-08D for the current appraised value of $50,000. Notice of public hearing was published in a local periodical 2 weeks prior to this hearing as required per Streets and Highway Code 8322. And 3 notices of public hearing were conspicuously posted along the frontage of the right-of-way to be vacated 2 weeks prior to this public hearing as required per Streets and Highway Code 8323. Per Streets and Highway Code 8340, a public entity may reserve and accept for the vacation easements for public utilities. Both SDG&E and Cox Communications have facilities located within this right-of-way. So easements for SDG&E and Cox Communications will be reserved from this vacation. Staff recommends that the City Council of the City of Vista approve the vacation of this portion of excess public right-of-way This concludes this presentation, and I'd like to open the floor to any questions or comments.
Deputy Mayor Contreras.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I had the opportunity to review this with the city manager ahead of time. I completely agree with the need to vacate. So I will go ahead and move to close the public hearing and accept this. But I do want to be on the record because there's something else that I talked to our city manager about, and that's this portion of South Santa Fe. There's a striking difference, right, between Paseo Santa Fe and this portion of Santa Fe. And as we start looking at different proposals coming before the council to redevelop this area and provide additional housing, there's a real need to ensure that folks have safe ways to cross the street. That right now is not present on this entire stretch of Santa Fe. And it really needs to be rectified. So that's something that I hope that as a city, we can push on developers to help produce some of those connections that are needed, and that we can really take a leadership role, because it really is a shame to be able to, grow population but not have really safe ways for folks to connect. I've had a hard time myself. Every once in a while, if you have to go to Discount Tire to get your tire fixed, it's really hard to move around, and you're going to be stuck there for a while. So even if you just want to cross the street, you have to go. And I know that's a little bit further south from here, but that is true of the entirety of this area. So just taking a little bit more of a deep look at how we can make it safer for folks as it becomes more and more populated. Thank you.
Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you. I would agree with those comments, and I'll second your motion. And we didn't have any comments from the public on this?
No.
All right, great, thank you.
And that motion included closing the public hearing, adopting the staff recommendation. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That item is approved unanimously. Our next item is regarding accessory dwelling units. If any member of the public wishes to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature or by pressing *9 or submitting a request to speak card. We do have several public speakers on this item. Councilmember O'Donnell asked for this item to be agendized, so we'll ask him to introduce it.
Thank you. Do we want to hear from speakers first?
Generally,
I'll introduce it real quick.
Yeah,
and then-
introduce it and
Okay.
let folks know what you're thinking. So they can
I know I have a slideshow and everything. So this is regarding ADUs. I know that there's been a large push over the course of the last few years to have more ADUs built in our communities, not just here in Vista, but all across California, because we've had a severe shortage in housing. One of the things that we currently have in our policy here in Vista is that we limit our ADUs to 2 bedrooms. But the reality of what's taking place is that we can have a third room in there, but it has to be a bar or a parlor. And many people are already utilizing this space as a bedroom, only they're doing it through improper means. So the reason I'm bringing this forward is because we need to increase our stock for housing. I think a lot of families don't realize that a 2-bedroom can actually be utilized as a 3-bedroom sometimes, or at least we should make it available to be utilized as a 3rd bedroom. So they have better options of where to live, where they can live with their family, and the options they have for ADU opportunities. So that's going to be discussed on this item. I don't know if you want to go to the next slide as well. Go to the next one. So the pre-prepared plans, cities like Encinitas already have these. The cost to put them together ourselves is about $50,000. If we go off of their plans and amend them and modify them, it'd be about $10,000, in which case it would actually save our residents a tremendous amount of money, because we would have pre-approved plans here in the city of Vista for anybody that wishes to build an ADU versus spending up to $8,500 of their own money to design a single plan. So I just want to bring it before the council tonight so we can have that discussion, and I look forward to hearing from the members of the council as well as the public on this.
Okay, we do have 3 members of the public, beginning with Sid Rothenberg, followed by Natasha Serrano and Lisa DeJesus. If you would, if you heard your name called, please go ahead and come forward and sit in the front row. Be ready to speak when it's your turn.
Good evening again. One spring morning, I was awakened at 7 a.m., the earliest construction work can begin, to the sound of a bulldozer leveling a sloping piece of land on the property that shares the entire length of my back boundary line. That was the start of the construction of a 2-unit, 2-bedroom each ADU. Neither I nor my neighbors were advised in advance that this ADU had been approved by the City Planning Department. Because the California state law does not require surrounding property owners to be notified, it is left open for each city to determine whether or not to require property owners applying to build an ADU to notify surrounding property owners as part of the process. In this instance, the architect's design falls under the radar in all aspects of the law, except for the available parking requirements. And I was spared the loss of my 250-degree views to the west. But I will suffer the loss of my personal privacy and the increased noise level made by 2 families of 4 or more people living in a tiny 375-square-foot units 4 feet from my property line. I encourage the council to consider adding the requirement that ADU applicants must notify the surrounding property owners in advance to the start of construction or as part of the ADU application process. Thank you.
Natasha Serrano, followed by Lisa DeJesus.
Thank you, and hello to everybody, Mayor Franklin, council members. I just lost my notes. One moment, please. Okay. Thank you very much to the City of Vista for bringing to the floor a discussion of ADU regulations and potential changes to those regulations. I specifically appreciate Councilmember O'Donnell's remarks just now on pre-approved plans. Boy, that would be amazing. I'm speaking here today to encourage the City of Vista to also place desperately needed attention to the staffing of and professional development of the building department. Speaking from recent personal experience, the permitting process is long, painful, unnecessarily riddled with red tape. Moreover, the entire city's management of citizen applications rests in the hands of very few people, some of whom have no issue whatsoever using the power of their position to harass people and block the progress of their applications. One of these employees chose to delay the approval of our application by any means possible and did not hesitate to resort to lies and harassment of me, my husband, and my elderly parents to achieve his goals. I have raised this issue that I'm speaking of to the building department. I've also spoken with Ms. Melendez, my council representative, and while I believe that Ms. Melendez and Mr. Chahad of the building department had the best intentions, I also know that nothing changed. The permit application was for a small, tiny granny flat and was intended to give my mother, dying of aggressive stage 4 small cell lung cancer, a dignified place to die. It took 6 months for it to be approved. My mother, Avenel Mingo, died 2 weeks before the ADU was cleared for move-in. She never saw it. Personally, I'm incredibly pained to know that nothing came of my efforts to stop the derailment of our goal, and I literally lay awake at night knowing that the harassment my family suffered can happen anytime to anyone in our city. All it takes is a phone call from one buddy to another to kick off such injustices. So, I implore the city, please take up an initiative to increase your building department staff to prevent the ripe opportunity of abuse of power that an understaffed department creates. I also ask that the council take up the task of requiring city employees to go through professional development training to help educate them on important aspects of their jobs, including conflict management, communication skills, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Finally, I implore the council to hold your city employees accountable for their actions. No family should have to endure what we did. You all have the power to ensure that they don't. Thank you.
Lisa DeJesus.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I own a company called ADU Gurus, and every day I speak to people that want to build ADUs. As an aside, I also help educate realtors and mortgage industry, title companies about ADUs, and subsequently I've helped their clients. So I've also done podcasts for groups like the National Aging in Place Council and other folks that are interested in caregiving and using ADUs as a caregiving resource. To that end, one of the things we're missing is the ability to build a 3-bedroom ADU. And we have a lot of things in Vista coming up that are like single occupant type apartments. We have 1 bedrooms, we have 2 bedrooms, but we don't see a lot of 3 bedrooms, and I'd just like to see the options. So I'm glad that you're ahead of the curve on this with pre-approved plans. We have people that, I have people that call me and they ask me if our city has pre-approved plans here or in Escondido or Oceanside or San Marcos, and they don't. And you do save money. You save money on the structural side when it's pre-approved. You still have to pay for a site plan. You still have to do other things accordingly. But that amount of money that it saves you is about $4,000 to $5,000. And so if they have to pay $3,000 for a set of plans to get everything that they need to get the permit rolling, that's fixtures in a house. That's a lot of help. So I'd love to get the pre-approved plans, but more importantly, I'm here tonight to encourage you to allow the 3 bedrooms. There aren't enough of them. There's not that many people that are going to build them. We don't have a run on ADUs. Just a statistic that I throw around sometimes, we have over 14 million residential units in the state of California. And in the last 3 years, we've had about 55,000 ADU permits issued. It's like less than 0.5% of the total amount of housing that is ADU permitted, right? So we're not having a big run on it. It's an expensive, lengthy, as we can tell, process. And people have to apply for mortgages to get them, or second mortgages or HELOCs. It's not a simple process. So to have that allowance of a 3rd bedroom, you can have a homeowner can increase their revenue, and a lot of first-time owners are trying to build an ADU so that they can offset their mortgage payments. You have a caregiving opportunity, so if a senior lives in a house and they need the family to live in the ADU so that they can help with that, there's so many different reasons that 3rd bedroom is necessary, and I don't think it would impact parking. In fact, I think it would allow for it would make for fewer spots because mostly a single family would be occupying it. Thank you for your time.
Deputy Mayor Contreras.
I want to thank Councilmember O'Donnell for bringing this forward. Thank you to the public for your comments. Councilmember O'Donnell, is your intention to direct staff to bring something back before the council?
Yeah, so because this would need to be updated, if we can give direction to staff this evening so they can prepare something and bring it back to us that we can vote on later, that would be the intent of this.
Okay, thank you. I want to go through some of the questions and comments that we got from the public just now. One, notifying neighbors, I would say within 500 feet, is that something that we currently do for other development projects?
That is something that is done for discretionary approvals, but not for ministerial building permit approvals.
Okay. And is there a large additional cost to do that for ministerial?
Yes. There's hundreds, thousands of ministerial building permits issued annually, and frankly, the state law in this particular case prohibits us from requiring an applicant to notify neighbors for ADU construction.
Okay, so there's not a ton of wiggle room for notifying neighbors of a particular, if a ADU is...
For an ADU particularly, yeah, our hands are tied.
Okay. I appreciate the public bringing that concern forward. I'm a big proponent of notifying the public of as many things as we can, but I understand if we have certain issues when it comes to state compliance for that. Our building department, I'm concerned to hear about the perception from the public being that it's understaffed. Is that the actuality of it?
So if the question is, do we have sufficient staff to handle building permits, I would say we could use some more. We can process permits. It does take a long time when it gets busy. Applications are backed up. I don't think the average time for an ADU process is 6 months. It's probably closer to 3. But yes, there are staffing issues in the planning and the building department that we really need to address. So my intention was to look at those departments and try to come back in the second quarter report, which will be in the spring, to try to address some of the staffing issues in the community development and engineering departments.
Okay. Well, my concern would be is if we adopted, well, let me ask this. I appreciate you giving us an update on that. If we were to adopt some of the direction that Councilmember O'Donnell brought forward in this discussion item with just the staff that we have at this point, do you believe that we will be able to better navigate the process that the public has to endure for getting their plans approved for an ADU?
I believe that the 3-bedroom component won't make any difference, but the pre-approved plans, yes, I believe that could expedite the process because we wouldn't have to go through an extensive plan check of those plans.
Okay, so if an applicant wanted to utilize the pre-approved plan, that they could essentially get fast-tracked.
Correct.
And is there a ballpark figure of how fast that could be done?
There's still some requirements, as Ms. De Jesus pointed out, that they would have to have a site plan prepared and there are potentially grading issues. So dependent upon the property, if you have a flat site that doesn't need much work, yes, it could be expedited to probably a month, 6 weeks, typically. But if you had grading issues, then it could be as lengthy a process as it is today.
Okay.
Depends on the property.
Okay. And in general, I just want to say that, I do believe that there's always room for improvement on part of our staff. I mean, it's something that I've brought up when we're discussing homelessness and folks in our staff that interface with a population experiencing homelessness, that they have additional training. I think we'll probably chat offline about what kind of standardized training there is for our employees. And I think it's just good for professional development in general. It could potentially open up opportunities, whether it's here in the city or somewhere else. And with that, I appreciate you answering those questions. But I'm very supportive of this item, and I'll leave it up to the rest of the council. I want to hear what you all have to say, but I am in support.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Yeah, thank you. You kind of asked some of the questions already, but as far as streamlining the process, short of any grading issues or anything like that, this would actually help by having pre-approved plans. And you can go ahead.
Yes, I believe it would.
And do we know what the city of Encinitas charges for residents that want to get the plans from the city? Do they have a fee?
There's no charge available online.
So this would actually genuinely save about $4,000 or $5,000 for everybody that wants to build one, which would probably make it a little bit more palatable, I would think. As far as the noise, I understand, but I would not be in favor of spending thousands of dollars to notify neighbors. It doesn't stop the construction, even if you notify them. And while I appreciate the concern over that and what had took place, I wouldn't be trying to push forward with it, but it sounds legally like we couldn't do it anyway. So the big reason that I brought this forward is I've talked to a lot of owners of ADUs, and a lot of them have space for a 3-bedroom in there, but they have to dedicate them as parlors or as bars. And in order to have it not be considered a 3-bedroom, you have to put essentially French doors or 2 doors on the one room. And you can put a desk in there with a fold-out couch or a bed and you just call it an office, but people are still utilizing it as a 3rd bedroom. And I just think that the opportunity for us to just correct something that is kind of fallen out of code that people are already utilizing it for. We don't have the code enforcement numbers to go to every single ADU or every single property to try and enforce this. So if we can make it available to residents, and I think that Mr. Jesus brought up a very good point, and that is, I don't think that it will increase parking. In fact, if it's already being utilized, then it will open it up to a lot of single-family homes to people that may only have 2 cars with children, which is, I think, necessary for Vista as we continue to grow. So I really appreciate the support from the deputy mayor. I hope the rest of the council will support it as well. But those are all my comments for now. I mean, I hope that this is something that will benefit the city for a long time to come, streamline the process. From the permitting standpoint, the last thing I'll say is I know that one of the largest complaints I get, not just for housing, but in business, is that our permitting process is a little slow at times, to say the least. So if we can take one link out of that chain to speed it up a little bit, I'm all for it. So,
Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember O'Donnell, for bringing forward this discussion. I support providing that direction to staff, that we give property owners who are interested in enhancing their property the opportunity to do that in a way where they can really make the most use out of their space, and that they're in compliance, and that their property rights are enhanced and their privacy is intact and all of that. So I definitely support that. And I also think it's important, as we continue to dialogue about the need for housing and the importance of housing in our community, that we don't always want to have to rely on large or corporate developers in order to produce the housing in our community. We have an opportunity to build housing that's by the community and for the community, and people can have intergenerational living arrangements that I think can be really positive and might not necessarily be the default in our culture, but I think more and more our community has come to appreciate that. And I think that these housing products can be really nice, especially if we have pre-drawn plans. It makes it simpler for everyone. And thank you, Ms. Sereno, for sharing your story and initially reaching out to me. I offer my condolences for your mother's passing, and I'm very troubled to hear of the outcome of your experience working with the city. And it sounds like, according to our city manager, 3 months is typical that we would see. And it sounds like you had an experience where your attempt to build a product on your property took more like 6 months. So that's definitely troubling to hear that outcome. And I will definitely be following up with our city manager about that. And hopefully you and I can follow up as well. And about the staffing and professional development, I really believe that all of our staff are here to, fulfill the duties of the city and, make sure that everybody's in compliance and that everybody is safe. But I don't think it's just the perception of some members of the public that we have issues that are counter and challenges with our building department. Even professional organizations like the Building Industry Association have, I've spoken with them, and they've examined our practices, and they have identified that we could use enhancements in our staffing. So I would be supportive of that going forward as well. So thank you for bringing this item forward, and I'm happy to, support directing staff to bring something back to us about this.
Councilmember Green.
Sorry, tough was my one. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember O'Donnell, for bringing this forward. I understand the request to have the pre-approved plans for 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. Are we planning to have like 2 designs of each plan? So 2 designs for the 1 bedroom, 2 designs for the 2 bedroom, and 2 designs for the 3 bedroom, or?
I think that would be sufficient to give some options, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
if the cost is only going to be, and well, I see the city manager going for his button. I don't know if he's trying to interrupt me.
That was kind of what I was wondering.
So what I would recommend considering is the city of Encinitas' plans are very well developed.
Okay.
They have 4 plan sets: a studio, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and a 3 bedroom, 3 bath. We could adopt those. We would take us a little bit of money to contact our architect and get a plan for Vista. That would be the least cost option. If the council wants to prepare additional options, then we would have to go out and hire an architect and have our own plan sets prepared, which there would be some additional cost to. So we're happy to take direction on either of those or both of those if that's what you'd like. But the Encinitas plan sets are the simplest and most cost-effective.
So currently it's 4 sets of plans
Correct.
that Encinitas provides, and it's a studio, a 1-bedroom, a 3-bed,
And they're
2-bedroom.
in the presentation here if you want to look at it.
Fantastic. No,
I ran through that. Sorry, I know you have the mic. I ran through that very quickly, so I never even got to the plans portion. But if we want to pull them up and look at them, all 4 of them are on there.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there were options, obviously, and then I know that, I don't know if it's SB 9 or SB 10, I know both of those kind of go hand in hand with, allowing additional units on parcels and allowing, additional ADUs with waiver of some development impact fees and all that good stuff. My question is should we also be doing a program, or do any cities have programs for junior ADUs? So as you know, you can have 1 junior ADU and 1 ADU. A lot of people convert their garages to junior ADUs. That's the quickest way to kind of have a living unit in there. Are there any pre-approved junior ADU plans you're aware of, or any that we could go about? Because some people can't afford to build an exterior structure. So if I could say, hey, you got a 2-car garage, we already have a layout that is acceptable to us. There's a firewall between it, all that. I'm just wondering if there's...
So I'm not aware of any in this region. Junior ADUs have to be built entirely within the footprint of the existing home, so you're dealing with different layouts for it, junior ADUs, typically depending on what the homeowner has available. If you wanted us to prepare one for a garage space that was like a typical 20 by 20, we could do that. I don't know how much utility there would be in that. I can certainly do some research and follow up with that.
Okay, and the requirement of a junior ADU is that it has to be connected to the house, right?
Has to be within the existing footprint of the house. So it can't be new square footage that you add onto the home. It has to be within the existing
Okay, so it's
footage.
strictly for converting garages, basically.
Or space in your existing home.
Or laundry, whatever. Okay, I got you. All right, well, that's really good clarification for me on that. I don't know if you guys have had anybody that, convert their garage to a living unit. I've seen it in several homes, but I think you're right. If it's not something that's widely requested, we don't have to do that. I thought anything that was attached to the structure could consider to be a junior ADU. So that's not the case. It's the existing thing. Okay, perfect. You can't just build a bridge to the sheds in your backyard and say it's a junior ADU, which is awesome. Okay, the other question that I had for you is as far as setbacks go. I know that we had a speaker speak about ADU was being built 4 feet from the back of her house. Is that where we're at? Where are our setbacks in the city of Vista?
State law
Okay.
requires 4 feet side and rear setbacks.
Okay. And we haven't had many other complaints citywide that you're aware of?
We get complaints all the time, to be honest, but the state law supersedes our ability to control that.
Okay, so there's really nothing that we can do about it. Okay. And I know that the need for housing is tremendous, and I think that Councilmember Melinda said it best when she said we can't rely on developers to provide all this housing stock. And I know that Lisa DeJesus out there is definitely a big fan of this, because people who call to build ADUs would definitely love to just have the option. It's almost a menu of services. And if I'm correct, we can use these ADUs to help with our RENA numbers, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and will the ADU have to be specified at a certain income level in order to be considered affordable or whatever, or is it just automatically?
The state HCD allows us to count ADUs toward our RENA numbers. That's just a flat rule.
Awesome. And then last question that I have on these ADUs is 1,200 square feet is typically the maximum square footage on ADUs. Is that a state law as well?
Correct.
Okay, look at us learning all these state laws. All right, well, thank you so much, Mr. Conley. Again, thank you for bringing this forward. As you know, I've owned a real estate and mortgage company in the town since the mid-'90s, and I've spoken with a lot of local real estate agents who are pretty excited because they got a lot of property owners that have kids who can't afford to live in Southern California, and being able to either convert your garage to a junior ADU or actually build an accessory dwelling unit will really help a lot of families stay together here. So thank you so much for bringing this forward, Dan.
Why don't we have a limited number of pre-approved plans, and then is there anything that would prohibit us from allowing a local architect or any architect from submitting a plan, paying the price for our planning department to approve it, and then offering it for sale? Say if somebody, it costs $5,000 to buy a plan and $3,000 to get it approved, and so it's $7,000 to get it approved, and somebody wants to sell in the market for $1,000, if they sell 8 of them, they've made $1,000, or they sell 100 of them. Why not give people the ability? That way is that something we could do?
Go ahead.
If a client hires the architect to develop the plans and the architect doesn't own the plans at that point, the client that paid for it owns it. So
Well, they couldn't license them?
that would be a different model than typically used in the architecture field, but
Well, what's the difference? I mean, if it's been approved, it's been approved, and it's the exact same plan.
it's a copyright. So
Yes, but if the owner of the copyright chooses to license it,
correct.
that's
If
not
a-
lawful, right?
Right. If the homeowner chooses to put it out,
Well, it's, at that point, it doesn't belong to the homeowner, it belongs to the architect. It's been licensed for the use, for the single use by the home builder, the homeowner. But the importance is that that exact plan has been approved by the city of Vista, and therefore the designer, the copywriter, has paid for the approval. So we're not giving them anything. But in doing so, we're allowing a catalog of work to be developed that would create more options. And the developer of the architect would pay for the approval. What would the problem with that be?
So frankly, Mayor, an architect and a property owner could do that today. There's nothing that prohibits that.
Well, the issue is the pre-approval. The issue is our giving approval one time to that plan, and then, so if somebody comes forward with a plan that we've already approved for a regular house, and the architect wants to license it to somebody else, it's not our business. Honestly, the intellectual property is not ours to decide up here. It's not our business. If they bring that forward and they have lawful right to use it, according to have the license to use the intellectual property, if we've already approved it once and it's an identical plan, do we have to go through a plan check on that identical plan? Like, say I'm gonna build a neighborhood and I'm gonna build 10 of the same house.
So
Do I have to do 10 plan checks on the same plan?
The building and structural plan check would not be necessary. We'd still have to verify the location of it, that the stormwater requirements are met, that the grading
course.
requirements are met. But no,
But
in
that's
terms
the
of
same.
structural and building code, no, that wouldn't be necessary.
So essentially, somebody could already do this. We wouldn't need an enabling ordinance for that model. Is that right?
yes.
I agree.
Okay, so we don't even have to address it, but I just think let that be known that if somebody wants to create a design and they want to sell it to people, that once it's been approved once, they could offer it for sale. So we don't even need to do anything to authorize it. I just wanted to make sure that was a model that was available, but I like the idea of offering a few things. I would think, so what are we charging for an ADU for the plan check?
Depends on the square footage, but it's generally, for plan check on the building department, it's generally like $3,000-$4,000.
So why don't we cut that down by 90% and recover $300, which is a huge reduction, but then it doesn't require our neighbors who are not benefiting from this to subsidize for others, because otherwise it kind of constitutes a gift of public funds, right?
Are you advocating that we cut the cost of plan check for all ADUs?
I'm sorry, did I not understand? No, that's not what I'm saying.
You're referring to
With regard to the pre-approved, I think you had said that we could eliminate the plan check cost altogether.
Correct.
But what I'm saying is, since the taxpayers are investing as a service to the community in a pre-approved plan, just giving that to the few individuals that would benefit from it constitutes a gift of public funds from those individuals who aren't. I'm just saying, why can't we recover $300, which would be a massive cost savings?
We can recover whatever the council desires. The cities that have done this don't have any cost recovery for the pre-approved plans.
I just don't see why, if we can discount $2,700 off of it, make a massive cost savings, do it much, much faster. I just don't understand why all the many residents of Vista that won't benefit would have to pay for those few who do. So I think a nominal cost that over a very long period of time would allow us to recoup the taxpayers' investment is reasonable. That's my input here. Councilmember O'Donnell?
So I would actually agree. I would be open, and I think that's the reason for the discussion, is to see if there would be a fee that we would want to implement with these plans. I'd be open to a minimal fee of, if it was $300, it's still saving thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm open to the discussion on that. We don't have to cement it in anything, but it seems like a reasonable request. The question I had is probably more for Walter, though. For a junior ADU, when it comes to HOAs, does state law supersede an HOA preventing you from being able to put a junior ADU in?
Yes.
So they could currently, because I know it's going to be a concern to a lot of HOAs, so I just want clarification. Currently, regardless of what we do on this dais, they can actually put a junior ADU in their homes or in the footprint of the home.
There has been debate about it, but the state law, the prevailing thought is state law trumps the HOA.
Okay. That was my only question. I just wanted to get clarification on it. And then, I'd be open to $300 for pre-approved plans.
And as with all fees, we should index it for standard inflationary increase. Councilmember Green.
Thank you. I was also just kind of looking at Encinitas' plans here, and they're 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 500 square feet, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 745, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 938 square feet. I know it's a 1-story, 3 bedroom, but I'm wondering, kind of to your point too, is hey, say that we made a 1,200 square foot standard. You know, I mean, we pay an architect to do a 1,200. If you want to have a bigger family, 1,200 square foot one. Since we had to pay extra for it, maybe you say, hey, if you want the 1,200 square foot 3 bedroom, it's $500 for those plans. I just feel like 938 square feet is kind of small for a 3 bedroom house. They do sell 3 bedrooms that are about 1,000 square feet, but typically 2 bedrooms are, you know, about 900, 750. So I don't know. I just feel like 938 cramming 3 bedrooms and 3 full baths in. I know it works per Encinitas plans, but you know, Vista might want to have a different style too, because maybe I want a stucco exterior tile roof. I don't know. So I feel like if we could have a bigger option in addition to these that people can pay a nominal fee for, like, hey, if you don't want the plans that we got for cheap, you can pay for these better plans that are going to cost you $1,000 instead of $4,000 or $5,000. Because I know I probably wouldn't build a 3 bedroom that was 938 square feet. And then, like the mayor says, why we shouldn't penalize our other residents. They should have other options. I like the idea of having other options and helping us recoup some costs. So anyway, that's my only question / suggestion.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to more options. I will just say, while it does not sound like a lot of square footage for 938 square feet, I mean, I live in a 1,300 square foot home, and I can tell you 938 square feet is a large amount of space for an ADU. But to the point you're making, I would be open to having more plans than just what we have here, so long as, again, we can recover the cost over time to have them. But I think that if we're going to maximize it at 1,200 square feet, then I would agree that we should have a plan that encompasses 1,200 square feet.
And just to clarify, what I'm suggesting is, you know, perhaps a firm like the one that, is it DeJesus or DeJesus? DeJesus, apologize. Perhaps a firm like hers might recommend to her clients, here's some plans that have already been approved by the City of Vista. She could provide that service to her clients, and if somebody came in and said, do you have any plans that have been approved that you know of? I don't know if there's, we don't need to get into it right now, but I don't know if it's lawful for us to refer and say, we've approved these, and these are ones that we know maybe we could furnish a list of those that are available to be licensed, possibly. We could get into that later, but my point is, the architect could pay a few $1,000s to have it go through the plan check process. That way, the people of Vista are not out anything. And then you open it up to a whole catalog, and you know, private companies that do ADUs could then, you know, here's a whole catalog of product that you could choose from that the architect is paid to have approved by the city. And maybe at first there's only 10 of them, but then maybe after 20 years there's 20 products, and there's, you know, so we could kind of get government out of the way of that and privatize it a little bit, create a whole host of options, and you know, we could have a few that we do here, extremely cheap, and then, you know, they could license out the others for whatever they want if people want more options. Just a thought there. Deputy Mayor Contreras?
So are we making a motion on this, or are we just providing direction, to staff? Okay. Well, I want to be on the record that for the standardized plans that we have, I don't agree with a fee. For anything above and beyond, I'm okay taking a fee, but I do think that we should just stick with having a product that is extremely accessible to the public. You know, even $300 plus inflation, who knows what that's going to be at some point. That's going to be huge. I don't want to burden folks with that, but I'm in agreement that if we do move forward with getting additional plans, that there could be some kind of a nominal fee with that. I'm totally okay with that. And I do want to say, I think regardless if we are able in either scenario with the standardized plan or with additional plans, I think the return on investment for us doing this to the public is huge. I don't think that we actually need to recuperate any fees because we will be seeing that the public is helping us do our job of building housing. So I just want to put that in, out there in the record. I don't want to nickel and dime my citizens and residents of the city of Vista. And I'm not saying that that's what I'm hearing here, but I think we do have the opportunity to create something that's just quick and easy for folks. And we could see the product come online and receive the benefits of meeting our RENA numbers and not having the state, in our business all the time. So.
Okay, staff, do you have enough guidance on this item? Seeing no other comments, we'll proceed to item D3, which is appointments of officials to boards and committees. If there are any members of the public that wish to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature by pressing *9 or submitting a request to speak card. City Clerk Kathy Valdez will introduce this item.
Turned on the wrong one. Sorry. This item is to do our annual appointments to outside organizations for their boards and committees. The mayor has provided a memo of recommendation to keep the seats the same, and then we'll take the SANDAG item separately.
Okay, we do have, I think, 2 public speakers on this item. Begin with Kathleen Boyle.
Good evening. I'm out of practice. It's been a while. It's the season for ugly Christmas sweaters, and I didn't have one, so I made one featuring, I love a show, aspects of Vista that are ugly. We love our city, but there's some things that are not so pretty. So some of these things, I have them written there, lack of shelter for many people. So homelessness, lack of shelter, insecure housing. We can see visible signs of people without housing on the streets often, and there are many, many, it's like an iceberg, many, many more people who have insecure housing who, for one small reason, next week could be without a home, be on the streets also. So housing can be very precarious for many reasons: mental health, substance abuse, physical health often. Another one of its uglinesses is unsafe streets in Vista. So this is not about crime. This is about speeding. A lot of bad traffic, speeding. So our city, our fair city, has become a shortcut for people who are going to they're leaving work and going to Riverside or somewhere, or they're on their way to work, coming from places further east. So they're speeding. They're thinking about going home, going to their job, and they're not paying attention to what's in front of them. So some of our streets are really precarious at night or in the traffic hours. There are places near schools that are not safe. They don't have good crosswalks. They don't have good stop signs. And many of our streets, if we think about Vista, there's hills, which make the city so pretty, but it impairs your vision if you're driving at night, and a lot of our streets don't have lighting. A lot of our streets probably are never going to have lighting, but a lot of our streets should have something where there's people walking. And so these streets, and some of these streets are are part of these shortcuts also. So you have the combination of speeding, no lighting, and a curve and a hill. It's very dangerous. And the third ugliness of Vista, of others I could think of, but this is dirty energy. So here in Vista, we have not really gotten into so far having a choice for energy, a clean, green energy choice. So this evening, I'm speaking in support of Katie Melendez. I'm speaking very briefly, I hope. She has served our community with very pragmatic approach to these problems. And people can view Katie as a progressive, and that's a term that really doesn't mean anything. It means something different to every person. It's like saying natural on a food product. There's nothing to buoy it up. I like to think of her and people like her as common sense or kind of.
Thank you very much. Jim Regenbach?
Good evening. One second. I'm just here to speak to support the reappointment of Katie Melendez as a SANDAG rep. She's taken a thoughtful, measured approach. Her perspective on housing, transportation, and public safety will continue to make Vista and the rest of the entire region a better place to live. Thank you.
On Zoom, we'll go to Nancy O, followed by John Bordorf, followed by Suzanne Hume. Nancy, are you there?
I'm here.
Go ahead.
Hi, I am just zooming in support of Katie Melendez remaining as our SANDAG rep, because to me, public transportation and any sort of advancement we can make, which we can only do it through SANDAG, is one of our it should be one of our highest priorities. So anyway, please keep Katie in that position so that she can continue to do the great job that she's been doing. Thank you.
John Bordorf. Hello, John.
Yes, there we go. My name is John Bordorf, and I'm just calling in support of Katie Melendez to renew her appointment to SANDAG. She is deeply committed to the people of Vista, and she has my full support. Thank you.
Suzanne Hume.
Hello, this is Suzanne Hume calling in support of Katie Melendez for SANDAG. She's done such a great job, and it would be just fantastic if she could continue. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and offer a motion to accept all of the recommendations. There are no changes from the current appointments, with the exception of the SANDAG position, which we can discuss immediately following. So I'll move adoption of all of the other nominations and appointments. Councilmember Green?
I'll just go ahead and second that motion.
Okay. And any speaking or comments on the motion? Deputy Mayor Contreras?
Yes, I just want to thank you, Mayor Franklin. North County Transit District is the only thing that I want to be on. Unfortunately, I wish I had more time to dedicate to other boards. I love serving the public, but I would love to continue on North County Transit District. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And with that, that item is approved unanimously, and we'll open the floor to discussion on the SANDAG appointment. Deputy Mayor Contreras.
Yes, I think I would like to keep the SANDAG appointment the same. I believe that our primary is Councilmember Melendez, and first alternate is Councilmember O'Donnell, and Mayor Franklin, I believe you are third alternate, right? So I move that we continue with that same appointment structure for SANDAG. Thank you.
Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the members of the public who spoke in support of my reappointment to SANDAG. I would ask that our City Council and the Mayor consider supporting me as our appointment on SANDAG. I'm happy to report that relationships with SANDAG have improved. It's been challenging. There are a lot of challenges to working with these regional boards. In fact, some people advocate that these shouldn't be appointments at all, but that they should be elected positions because it's so difficult to wear your local hat and then sit on a regional board. So I'm very honored to serve the community on SANDAG. A couple of reasons that I would like to continue is that I'm currently working with our city staff and with the SANDAG staff to identify grant opportunities for our community and really make sure that we're receiving more technical support. The SANDAG staff has a lot of resources to helping our own city staff walk through different projects and make us more competitive for grants. And I've identified that some of the reason why we have lost opportunity and lost funding is because we just needed a little bit more technical support. So I've been able to arrange meetings with our city manager and important staff members at SANDAG in order to accomplish that. Another item that I think is important to bring up is that when a decision came before the SANDAG board to vote against the road usage charge or the mileage tax, I did follow my, my council's will and the interests of the public, and I did vote against the road usage charge. I think that there are so many different financing options that a regional board can look at that I was very confident in voting against it because, first of all, I haven't seen all the options that are available to us or a justification as to why it is truly necessary. So I really did vote my conscience in that and was joined by the majority of the SANDAG board in denying the road usage charge be included in our 2025 regional plan. So those are some of the items that I've been working on when it comes to SANDAG. I've also been trying to connect with our SANDAG staff more about our specific area. There have even been times where SANDAG staff have confused me with other cities, right? In conversation one time, one of the top SANDAG staff members, they referred to me as a member from National City. They even referred to me as a member from Escondido. And, I had a frank dialogue with this person and I said, this is part of the problem where this, administrative side of things and this professional staff side of things doesn't know what it's like to be in Vista. And they don't understand the needs that our community have so much that they, are mistaking my identity and just not getting that right. So I've been able to have some frank conversations about, being from Vista, making sure that we're advocating for the public here first and foremost, and advancing our goals for our common goals as a community, which I really believe is to have more freedom in our mobility, to have more resources to our local community, and to be strategic and have long-term thinking when it comes to our climate goals and to our growth as a region. So I'm happy to respond to any concerns that my council may have. I think it would be a really powerful and very much an honor if I could have unanimous support for this decision. I understand that there have been concerns that the mayor is not sitting on this appointment, but I do look at other cities and I see that there are other council members representing, and all of us are doing our very best to represent. And I will say that I have attended every meeting that I am, subject to be at, and some of those mornings and those drives down to San Diego are pretty challenging, but I'm dedicated. I get up and I go and I do it. I love my local Vista community. I love to be here, but to me, it is worth it to go to San Diego to advocate for folks in Vista on SANDAG, because it's what I committed to do, and I would love to continue to fulfill that commitment. So thank you for your consideration.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, Councilmember Melendez, I don't think you're going to have unanimous support because I still wholeheartedly believe that the gentleman who represents the entire city should be representing SANDAG. I know I'm on the majority or the minority here of this council, but I really feel like it was more political posturing because once, Councilmember O'Donnell was elected and we had the majority of the board, we changed the code and did what we did. And it's okay. I understand it's a political thing, but I really feel like it is a disservice to the citizens of Vista to have a person who represents one district and I really feel like our views definitely are different. And I think some people in my district's views may be different than yours, maybe different than the mayor's. But knowing that the majority of the city wants him to lead our city as a whole, I think he should speak for our city as a whole. And, I think he'd do a great job. I also think they would know you were from Vista. It is a little disheartening to even know, staff. I don't ever want to hold things against staff, but when we're in the room, we want to fight for Vista. And I know Katie's definitely been up there being on boards and on hiring, policies and programs and things. But I really just believe in my mayor, and I believe in my city, and I believe that my city made a decision for Mayor Franklin to be the mayor. Therefore, he should speak for the whole city. And Councilmember Melendez should speak for District 3 and give recommendations to the mayor, as all of us council members do. And the mayor should go represent the city as a whole. So I don't like the way SANDAG was done. I'm not excited that it's still going to be the way that it is, but I definitely understand politics, and I know that some things are done because that's the way politics works. So with that, I will go ahead and second the motion that's on the floor.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
I will not relive my very passionate speech I gave a year ago tomorrow, but I will just share my same echoing statements. I believe Councilmember Melendez is the right person for this position. I believe that she has shown that. A year ago, what will be tomorrow, the largest concern that we had and that people shared with me is that we were going to appoint somebody who wants to tax us for every mile we drive on the road. And I didn't believe that was true at the time, and I believe Councilmember Melendez showed that it was not true by voting against the road user charge. I know that she has, because I've watched her do it, advocated very wholeheartedly for Vista. I know that the relationships have been strengthening at SANDAG with Vista. And I believe that she has been very effective in being our representative. So I will share my support, as I did last time we made this appointment. And while I know that we may not have a majority, I hope that you two would join us, but if not, that is understandable.
So obviously, my desire and my personal preference is that I would represent the city. I second Councilmember Green's comments. The mayor is the only person who's been elected by a majority of the residents of the entire city. When it comes down to it, there are still some very significant differences of opinion. Obviously, we're coming from two different ends of the spectrum, me and Councilmember Melendez. I think not just the road user charge, but taxes in general. SANDAG and its allies worked to they ultimately failed in the last cycle to qualify new tax initiatives because voters rejected them. I'm committed to opposing new taxes that are to fund SANDAG because SANDAG has repeatedly promised projects like the interchange with I-15 and 78 Highway, projects like the fact that we still have a stoplight at I-5 and 78 Highway. SANDAG has neglected North County's infrastructure. I also have very fundamental differences of opinion. I, for instance, feel that the automobile is going to be necessary to the economic liberty and mobility of our residents for many years into the future. And I feel that I place a greater priority on investment in highway infrastructure. And I think that if I was serving there, that there would be a significantly different posture from our city in terms of where dollars are invested. I don't support for instance, the $5 billion tunnel underneath Del Mar is a massive waste of taxpayer dollars. I spoke directly to the chief engineer at North County Transit District, and I asked him, the seawall has held up the tracks for 100 years, and it's beginning to fail, but it's 100-year-old infrastructure. And I asked him very directly, how long would the seawall last if we simply repaired it? And he said, well, you might get another 70 or another 100 years. We should be repairing the seawall, not trying to build a tunnel underneath Del Mar for what it began as a $3 billion project. Now it's a $5 billion project. It'll be $12 billion by the time it gets built, if it gets built. It's a massive waste of taxpayer monies, and the people of Vista are not going to reap a windfall reward for a massive expenditure. SANDAG has been rife with corruption, and I make no secret of the fact that I'm not friends with the people that are in the majority at SANDAG, and I won't cover for or give any quarter to the staff at SANDAG who have intentionally covered some of their malfeasance. Particularly, we have the SR 125 route where the tolling system has been a nightmare, disaster. Staff intentionally covered that up. Lauren Warham is suing the agency right now. She faithfully served the city of Vista, did a fine job as our finance director here, a person that's well known to us. She's suing because she was fired in retaliation. SANDAG is a mess, and we need somebody down there who routinely holds the SANDAG executives and, frankly, the majority of the board of directors accountable, that agency serves the best interests of taxpayers. And, you know, I'm a watchdog. I'm a warrior for transparency. I'm a warrior for accountability. I'm a warrior for taxpayer protection. I'm a warrior against new taxes that will injure the working families of the people of Vista. So, you know, I won't vote for the motion because this comes down to which ideas are going to prevail. And I very much appreciate that you voted against the road user charge. I'm not opposed to the road user charge because I haven't seen the options. I know what the options are, and I do not support the road user charge. I never will. There will not be an instance, or there will not be you know, the stars will never align in a way that I will ever approve taxing people on a per mile basis. One of the other super important things about the vehicle miles traveled policy most people are not following is that vehicle miles traveled is not just a policy that created the road user charge. Road user charge is one component of the vehicle miles traveled policy. VMT also requires new developments in the unincorporated parts of the county to predict the number of miles that residents will live in, makes it very difficult, and we've had very few, in fact, almost no new housing starts. Comparatively, we went from thousands to tens, and that's not that is not just this year as interest rates have skyrocketed. It's not a response. Obviously, the current economic conditions have impacted new housing starts, but ever since the VMT development policy, I don't know how many of our council members are even fully aware of that policy, but it hugely impinges on development in other parts of the county, and it forces development in transit-oriented areas and in incorporated areas. And what it means is that Vista will grow more and more dense, and that housing prices in Vista will be higher and higher and higher in the future, because everywhere in the country, and in fact everywhere in the world, where we have higher density population and more housing units per square mile, we had higher prices, because the first three rules of real estate: location, location, location. So I support policies that I believe ultimately will create lower priced, more affordable housing for working families in our county and our communities, that will preserve the character and nature of the city of Vista. I support the addition of the HOV lanes, which were promised to us in Transnet 2. I support all the projects that were promised to us in Transnet 1 and Transnet 2. I will never support a Transnet 3. I think that's a fundamental difference. I just want to, I don't think this is going to change anybody's vote, but I want the voters of Vista to know what are the differences between us. And, you know, I think that's a really critical issue. That's where I'm at. That's why I can't support you, because, you know, frankly, I've called publicly for, and I still support disbanding SANDAG, particularly, you know, it's a government agency with 27 different hats. And, you know, the fact is the members of the board of directors are elected, and this is the, you know, we have a representative model of government where we are elected and we choose somebody to go down there, which is ultimately why I think Councilmember Green's point is important, which is that we need to pick somebody who was selected by the majority of voters. So because of the issues, because of the many corrupt practices at SANDAG, because of the many broken practices at SANDAG, the systemic corruption, I think we need really strong leadership down there that's not go along, get along. I think we need to go down there to deconstruct that agency until we get to the bottom of the dysfunction. I think we need to make it work for the people of Vista whose interests are significantly different than the majority of the SANDAG board, which is primarily representing urban San Diego. Our voters simply don't have enough in common with the urban areas of this county for us to be voting along with those folks. Those are my comments, and that's my position on it. Deputy Mayor Contreras.
Thank you, Mayor Franklin, for sharing your perspective, and I think you're referring to SB 743. Some of these state laws, they are what they are. We can argue about them, but they're probably not going to be changing anytime soon when it comes to VMT and sprawl out east. I do want to correct some of the things that were said, one of which was SANDAG and its allies that supported a citizens initiative, which is not true because SANDAG is not supporting any citizens initiative. If they were to bring forward something as from that body, then they could certainly support that. But the agency itself is not in support, does not have a position on the citizens initiative. And I understand that you have a difference of opinion with the citizens initiative. In general, you don't believe that it should be a simple majority. You believe that the public should have to reach this 2/3 level of voting. I would be curious to see if that's something that you would support in local government when we have elections here. But in any case, and I also want to say that I would have really appreciated, having a representative that showed up to every single meeting that they were supposed to show up. Councilmember Melendez stated that she has been in attendance for every single meeting. There aren't so many meetings on the calendar, and if these are fundamentally important meetings, then I would have expected you to be present at every single one of those and voicing your opinion so that we could move Vista forward. When you're absent, there is a void, and our voice is not being represented. And I do believe that even on the Transportation Committee, subcommittees that SANDAG has that you were supposed to represent, you had to be removed from that for non-attendance. And that's something that, Councilmember Melendez wasn't the one moving for that removal. So in any case, I think it's really important that when you do have a position and it's necessary to go and advocate for your city, it's important for the public to know that you're going to be there 100%. So I just needed to correct the record about SANDAG. There's a lot of issues with it. When it was in the depths of its corruption, none of us were even on council. We had, previous representatives that were in that room, which you stated you were one of them. And, if I recall correctly, you said you didn't buy some of the explanations that the previous SANDAG administrative staff had. So, that's why I wish that it wouldn't be political. I wish that we could really move forward in the interests of Vistans, that we could support different amenities and urban assets that are needed to move our population. There's so much that can be done, but you have to be at that table and you have to keep pushing for it. So hopefully if there is any kind of appointment as you being third alternate on this slate, that any appointment that is made of you, I really hope that you take that passion and sit through the meeting, go to every single meeting that you can, and really do your best to represent the city.
Just to set the record straight, I did not miss a single board meeting of SANDAG while I was the primary or acting primary member of the council here. So the non-binding advisory committees that sit for hours on a Friday, half of the meetings of which this year were canceled because other members didn't attend. I mean, I appreciate what you're trying to do. You're trying to paint me as somehow having not done my job, but the reality is every time there was a board of directors meeting, I was there to advocate and to cast our vote. I never once failed to be there when there was a vote on the floor at the board of directors. So appreciate your thoughts. Just want to set the record straight. Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you. I really appreciate the discussion. I genuinely did ask for, I wanted to solicit my fellow council members' opinions and feedback and assessment of the job that I have done. And I will just say in regards to the advisory committees, such as the Transportation Committee on SANDAG, that committee is one that does review our active transportation project grants. And that is something where I think that those grant applications and criteria need to be evaluated. And when I first got to SANDAG, I worked with the Transportation Committee, although I wasn't on the Transportation Committee, to reevaluate what are some ways where we can make sure that funding is actually going to cities in an equitable way. We need to make sure that all regions of our county are being served by SANDAG, not just the urban areas of San Diego. And I do want to push back against this idea about being someone who is just go along and get along. I really have pressed SANDAG, including on issues like the 78, and improvements to the 78 at the junctions of the 5 and the 15 are included in the 2025 regional plan. And I think that this would be a great opportunity, or maybe in the future we can have council discussions about this. Plans for the 78. I think that there's conversations about expansion of the 78, but also managed lane conversion. When presented with information from SANDAG staff and the reality that SANDAG is a regional body, but it's also positioned within the state of California and is competitive for funds, to the state of California, we might be limited in our ability to accomplish certain goals. I don't believe that we would be able to get matching state funding if we were to expand Highway 78. But there are ways that we can improve it. And I have been trying to get feedback from people. So if anybody has any suggestions on the benefit of managed lane conversion on the 78 or any type of other improvements that we could do to make it better, that we could be competitive for funding for, I would love to be able to accomplish that. Something I've learned from serving on SANDAG is plans are great, but there also has to be a path to fund those plans. And so I'm trying to be realistic about what are we able to accomplish to meet the public's needs. I wanted to speak to alternatives to taxing individuals, such as the road usage charge. When I speak of alternatives and other options, I'm referring to potential for more corporate responsibility. And I want to correct myself that it was removed from the 2021 regional plan, and we are waiting to hear if that gets approved by the state through CARB. So, I do not want to put any more pressure on working families. I think that when it comes to enhancing our built environment, we need to have some more responsibility of those who are using our roads the most and causing some of the greatest wear and tear, and not just the people who are getting to their jobs every day. I think although we might disagree on certain things ideologically or certain solutions and issues, I do believe that I am an ethical person and that I am a fair person, and that the priorities are the same, that we all care about safety, quality of life, and ethics. And I just happen to bring a unique perspective. So, for example, when we were discussing our 2025 regional plan, the SANDAG staff provided a lot of data that included the city of Vista as one of the top areas for bicycle fatalities. And that was very alarming to me, because something that I had been hearing from the community, right, which is I don't feel safe on my bike. People always get hit by cars when they're riding their bikes. We just kind of know Vista to be this dangerous place to ride your bike. I found that this was supported by data, and it's something that I advocated for us to address, right? We should be pursuing Vision Zero. We shouldn't have any preventable deaths in the city of Vista if we can change our built environment and make it safer for people. And I had other members of the SANDAG board try to tell me that it's just kids who are on their e-bikes getting hit by vehicles as they're riding their bikes, and that's simply not true. There are many adults in the city of Vista who depend on their bicycle as a form of transportation, and they are the ones who are at risk because they're using it to commute and for all their daily errands. And then, of course, we have to think about young people and how this city ends up being a hotspot for a lot of hostility on the street. And so those tend to be my priorities. I understand, Mayor, your call for strong leadership and accountability. And I think that there are some incredible issues that SANDAG has. I definitely believe that. And I want to continue to pierce through that organization in a way that is uplifting our community and trying to prioritize safety and quality of life for our residents here at Vista first. And I do really appreciate the dialogue, and I welcome, if we have a conversation about SANDAG projects or policies, then I think maybe City Attorney, you can confirm this. Is our body at full liberty to discuss what's on the agenda for SANDAG?
Not without agendizing it.
Okay, so would it be possible for certain items that may come before the council to be talked about in the form of a resolution or other item of support?
What I would probably recommend is if you wanted to put something on the agenda to talk about, basically put in a SANDAG update.
Okay.
And then I think that would, fulfill the Brown Act requirements.
Okay. Well, I'm really committed to serving on SANDAG because there are some pivotal projects that I want to see come to fruition. And if they are not completed, then I want to be able to take full responsibility for that. And I'm willing to do that. And I am also committed to bringing forward those SANDAG updates. I think that would lend itself to transparency. I feel like it would be good communication for our board. And I would appreciate everybody participating in those discussions, including the public. I'll leave on this final note that I have worked to get SANDAG more engaged in our community, and I was able to secure one of their staff members to come to the upcoming traffic calming meeting for District 3. And I think that this is the type of presence that we can see for a number of city activities. SANDAG, if it's going to, in its staff, if they are going to represent the interests of Vista, I completely intend to have them participate in more and more of our actions and activities here in the city of Vista.
Councilmember Green.
I wasn't going to say anything. I actually pressed my button a couple different times and turned it off, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware that the mayor never had the opportunity to serve as a primary SANDAG rep. That the mayor has always either been a secondary rep or now a third string rep. And in my opinion, fair would have been giving the mayor the opportunity to serve, not, just taking it over the second we got on here. So I do feel like the mayor, I serve on a board with the mayor. He's never missed a meeting. I know it's only in Carlsbad, but to say that he's not going to attend isn't really fair because we never gave him the opportunity to be the primary guy. So I don't think the reason you should say is because you attend. You are effective. You have worked hard, and I think you concentrate on that more than beating the mayor up on his attendance record because he was never the primary rep. So I don't mind these discussions. I just want to make sure that we all stay on track here with the whys and things. So I won't be voting for it. I did second the motion, so I know it's been moved and seconded. I know it's going to pass with the majority of the council, but I just want to voice my opinion and make sure that, we're totally transparent when we speak about this because I feel like if you would have been given the opportunity, you would have shown up, but the truth is we'll never know. So that's it. Just wanted to throw that out.
Deputy Mayor Contreras.
Councilmember Green, I think that you just are, we're not talking about him as a primary. We're not talking about Mayor Franklin as a primary on the SANDAG Board of Directors. We're talking about a subcommittee of transportation that is incredibly important where we have had grants for the Emerald Corridor go and be unsuccessful. And Mayor Franklin did not attend so many of those meetings to the point where that subcommission had to remove him from it. So, I mean, I know that there's a bigger spotlight at the board of directors, and that's where you can get, KUSI to come and all these different news outlets. But it's so important to do the work even when people aren't looking, because that is part of the record. And, I didn't want to print it out and bring it here, but you can just look online and you can see Vista, primary on Transportation Committee, Mayor Franklin, absent, 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 absent. So it's not that we're saying, I totally understand he never had the opportunity to be the primary at the board of directors, but that Transportation Committee makes a lot of important recommendations to the board of directors. And you have to be present at every single part of the process. If it's really that important to you, it shouldn't only be important when the spotlight's on you. So I just had to correct that because I think we're talking about two different things. But in any case, I wanted to ask the city manager, have we ever received a letter of support from SANDAG for any of our projects?
I don't honestly know the answer to that question. I know SANDAG has supported us in different things we've done, but as far as for what, I just don't have enough history on that.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that we received a letter of support, I believe, when we were trying to get funds for the Emerald Corridor. So, and to my knowledge, that's the only time that we've ever had a letter of support from SANDAG. And that was 100% due to Councilmember Melendez's advocacy. Now, were we able to get the whole $5.8 million from Congressman Mike Levin? No, because there's a bunch of fighting and bickering at the federal, national level. But we were able to get a little over $800,000. And so it's just important to have both accountability and relationship building in these types of positions where we are ultimately trying to keep the public safe, connected, and bring more dollars that we can leverage our little local dollars here with state and federal funding. That's the only way that we can actually build projects. That's how, I'm hoping that the grade separation, there's no way that we're going to be able to fork over $300 million plus for that grade separation. We need to build relationships, whether it's at North County Transit District or at SANDAG or any of the other regional boards that we sit on, so that we can bring to fruition these projects, or else we just don't get anything. But the accountability piece is important, and I know that that's what's really important to Mayor Franklin, and I know that that's something that Councilmember Melendez is doing and will continue to do. So I just needed to provide a little bit more information about the absentee issue.
Just to further contextualize, we're referring to non-binding advisory committees that don't have the ability to restrict the authority of the board of directors. They receive information, discuss information, provide advisory direction, but it's not a binding vote that actually binds the agency. So, and again, 7 of those 11 meetings were canceled for non-attendance of the members. So I appreciate the political attack, but the reality is much is being made about nothing. Councilmember Green.
I was just going to state that I was the secondary rep for 2 years, and I was on the ATP, actually, and I did attend the meetings where we had quorum, but there were a lot where we didn't have quorum. I was assigned to a lot of boards. Catherine Blakespear was actually the chair of SANDAG, and she liked me so much, she appointed me to a ton of different subcommittee boards. I was even on the litter abatement committee, which we had, and so I do know all of the committees, and I understand the importance of the committee. We did discuss the 5 big moves at the ATP, which I actually was kind of anti, and it still was recommended to SANDAG. So sometimes even if you're there, it still goes to the board of directors and they vote it. So attendance is super important. And I just want to, I do feel like I'm not saying, hey, I want to throw the mayor up there and he's never going to show up. I truly believe he would show up. And the past performance on these subcommittees, I don't think dictates how he's performed as the mayor. I think we all see as the mayor, this guy's been more visible than probably any mayor we've ever had. He attends all the events, shows up to everything, and really neglects his wife. So Shauna, apologize. All right, with that, we got a first and a second. Let's call for a vote.
Shauna deserves and appreciates that. Yes, please cast your votes. No, I cast the wrong vote there. I intended to cast the no vote there. Would you please let the record reflect that I voted no on that item? That item passes with 4 votes in favor and 1 vote opposed. Okay, that'll bring us, we don't often vote no, and sometimes I forget when I'm planning to vote no, and reflexively voting yes. Okay, the next item is appointment of a deputy mayor for a 1-year term. If there are any members of the public that wish to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature, or by pressing the *9 or submitting a request to speak card. Councilmember Green.
Oh, hi, Mayor Franklin. So I know that you're the person who appoints deputy mayors, and I know the deputy mayor's job is to represent you in your absence, and unfortunately, you're never absent. Sometimes you are. I think Deputy Mayor Contreras has done an amazing job being deputy mayor. I just wanted to throw it out there that I have been on the council for 7 years. I do love this city like it's my little sister, and the year I was deputy mayor was COVID year, so I didn't get to do anything. All boards were shut down. Everything was, I don't know, man, satellite, and some of my boards didn't even open until November of 2021, which means 11 months as deputy mayor, Joe Green locked on the other side of a screen. So I would be honored to be your deputy mayor for the upcoming, term. I don't know how my council feels about it. I feel like I would be there in every capacity, not using it for any type of political gain. No plans on running for election. Check it out officially on the record. Just want to serve my city until the end of the year, and would really be honored to serve my city in my final year and actually do the job of deputy mayor that I really wanted to do, but wasn't able to do. And I think Deputy Mayor Contreras did a fantastic job, so I'd want to try to be as good as Deputy Mayor Contreras someday. That's all.
Well, I would certainly support your selection as deputy mayor. I agree with you. The year that, the 1 year of that you've served, you did not have the opportunity really to do the job because we were virtual that year because of the pandemic. We do have 2 speakers. Go ahead and hear from those 2 speakers if that's all right. I'll start with Suzanne Hume on Zoom, followed by John Bodorf. Suzanne Hume.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Hume, and I am in support of Katie Melendez for deputy mayor because of all of the great things that she has done for Vista. There are too many to mention right now, but children's health, public health, the environment, all of the things that she has done and brings are just so impactful and important. I won't take any more of the council's time. I'm in strong support of Katie Melendez as deputy mayor. Thank you.
John Bodorf.
Good evening, City Council. I just wanted to second that as well and put in my support for Katie Melendez for deputy mayor. Thank you so much.
Okay. With that, I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Joe Green to serve as deputy mayor for the coming year. And would ask if there is a second for that. Councilmember Contreras.
I just want to say, Councilmember Green, I supported you when you ran for mayor. I think that you are an incredible advocate for our community. And I know that this is your last year and you really want to serve. This is also the last year in Councilmember Melendez's term. I wasn't, I had to win twice to even become deputy mayor. So, while I support you wholeheartedly, and I believe that you are such an incredible cheerleader and advocate for our city, and I I will just always express my love and admiration for you. I am going to support Councilmember Melendez as deputy mayor. Hearing that there was no second to the motion, I will make a motion to appoint Councilmember Melendez as deputy mayor.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Councilmember Green, to hear the words officially come through the microphone breaks my heart. I have enjoyed working with you tremendously this last year, and here is what I know about yourself, and that is every event I've been at, you've been at, and I've been to a whole lot this past year. Whether you are deputy mayor or not, I know that you love this city, and you will be a cheerleader and a champion for Vista. Whether you're on this dais, whether you're elected or not, I know that you will show up. I think it is very unfortunate that it was during a COVID year that you were the deputy mayor. But I know that when I go anywhere, everybody knows Joe Green's there the moment he shows up. And that is not something that is lost on any resident, whether you're deputy mayor or not. So I appreciate you wanting to serve in this capacity. But I do genuinely look at the body of work that Councilmember Melendez has done over the last 3 years, whether it's through homelessness or infrastructure or housing, or as Ms. Hume mentioned, pesticides. I know that she is out in the community, has a good pulse on it as well. So I will support her as deputy mayor, but I want you to know that I know that you love this city like a little sister, as you just said. I know that you will be there regardless of your position, and I appreciate all the work that you have done with Vista. So I'll continue looking forward to working with you the next 12 months.
Councilmember Green.
That's exactly right. 364 days, I believe, to be exact. I just want to give Councilmember Melendez one more opportunity because, before the mayor was elected was the curse of the deputy mayor. Everybody who was deputy mayor and re-ran for council lost. Every single person ever, okay? The only person who has never broken that curse is the mayor right here. I know you want to be reelected, and I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be the deputy mayor if I was running for reelection, but that's a you thing. So I'm superstitious. Just want to give you one more chance. If you want to vote against this motion for yourself, we could make another one afterwards. And we could do it the other way, but just want to make sure you know about the curse of the deputy mayor. I was trying to do you a favor, but now I don't know what I'm going to do. Thank you.
Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councilmember Green. If I have to compete with you, then I know I'm going to lose because you are show-stopping every single time. It's so true that you do show up, and we can always count on you to represent Vista and to be yourself. So I think that that's something that I really admire about you, is that you're the same with every person, right? Whether you have the deputy mayor title, you have the council member title, you're in your broker mode, you're in your selling real estate mode, you're in your weed biz mode, right? Whatever it is, Councilmember Green is the same with every single person, and that's such an important value to have. And I try to be like that too. And I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes where I just kick myself, and I think if I hadn't had the experience that I've had the past 3 years of serving, I wouldn't know what it means to be deputy mayor. But what it would mean for me to be deputy mayor is to show my community that I'm ready to step up, that I am ready to continue to be challenged, that I want to be challenged, that I want to have greater accountability, and that I am going to not, waste any time. We never know how long we have. And so as much as I appreciate the superstition, I do also appreciate the support from my colleagues and from the public who wish for me to represent as deputy mayor, and I would be honored to be our next deputy mayor. And I will go ahead and second the motion in support of that.
We have one more public speaker on this item, Allison James on Zoom. Allison, are you there?
You accepted?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I am actually Deanna Ferron with Town Square Realty Group, and I am calling to support Joe Green as deputy mayor.
Thank you very much. And we'll go ahead.
you.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and close the opportunity for public comment on this item. Here's where I'm coming from. Councilmember Melendez, you opposed, and this majority opposed, the majority of this council, not myself, opposed some individuals who had ambition to serve the community electorally. You voted against them, even though they had a great record of serving the community. They wanted to serve on boards and commissions, and you saw fit to create the precedent that those with some political ambition should not have the opportunity, even though we have a long history of individuals who have had ambition to serve on the council, that have served in boards and commissions. So because of the precedent that you have created as a majority of this council to decline to approve individuals who've been nominated, who are, running or in cycle or have ambition to serve, I am going to follow your lead, and I'm not going to support Councilmember Melendez's appointment as deputy mayor because of the apparent political conflict. In the past, that was enough reason for Councilmember Melendez to lead the charge against individuals with good rapport and reputation in our community, and for Councilmembers O'Donnell and Contreras to vote against those individuals for serving. So that is going to be the reason that I'm not going to be able to support this. I would support Councilmember Green. I would support Deputy Mayor Contreras continuing. I could support Councilmember O'Donnell. So I'd be a yes on any of them. But because you have created the precedent as a majority of this council that you will not approve, and you've stood in the way of all the people that I've tried to appoint to boards and commissions, or at least the vast majority of them, because you have chosen to make that political, I'm going to follow your lead on that and suggest that we do not approve the motion to make somebody who's in cycle the deputy mayor. Councilmember Melendez.
Thank you. I just want to appreciate everyone's comments and understand that I will always vote my conscience and act as an individual, and I earnestly serve the community. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Thank you, Walter. Okay, that item is approved with 3 in favor and 2 opposed. That'll bring us to item, congratulations, Deputy Mayor Melendez. That'll bring us to item D5, our final item, fiscal year 2023-2024, first quarter financial report. If there are any members of the public that wish to speak on this item, they may indicate so by using the raise their hand feature, or by pressing *9, or by submitting a request to speak card. Our finance director, Mike Sylvia, is here to introduce the item.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor and Council. Item D5 is the fiscal year 23-24 first quarter financial report. Provides a summary and comparison of the general fund budget to actual results. The report does include proposed operating and capital budget adjustments for the first quarter, as well as a number of proposed personnel changes. General fund revenues and expenditures are consistent with budgetary expectations for the first quarter. However, it's worth mentioning the current year revenues shown in the report, the actuals are a bit lower than last year, and that's due in large part to timing variances for revenue recognition. They will be trued up with the mid-year second quarter report that'll go in March. Without the timing variances, nominal revenues received is approximately equal in both years, just a little bit under $27 million. It's important to note that there's significant amounts of cash receipts are not received equally throughout the year. A number of them are actually received after the end of the fiscal year in June. So we wouldn't expect to be at 25% of revenue at this time. We are at just under 21% for revenue and just under 18% for expenditures as of September 30th. There are 21 budget adjustments requested, and these are explained in detail in Exhibit 2 on pages 10 through 15 of the agenda report. These requests are funded via changes in estimated revenues, appropriation reductions in other accounts, or the use of existing fund balance or retained earnings. Staff will have additional revenue updates with the mid-year or Q2 report scheduled for presentation to City Council at the March 12th regular City Council meeting. Notable grant-funded budget adjustments include $250,000 for the Avo Playhouse rehab and ADA upgrades, the North Santa Fe Complete Streets landscaping and irrigation for just under $1.6 million, and $850,000 for the Emerald Drive Complete Streets project. General fund budget adjustments include Ringgold Terrace Ballpark field lighting replacement, additional funding for $190,000 to finish that project, as well as $300,000 additional for the Opticon system for fire department vehicles, and $265,000 for the Moonlight Amphitheater seating and patio furniture replacement. Also, per prior City Council direction, the city's integrated pest management program, the IMP, will be funded via multiple funding sources totaling $350,000. In addition to the requested programmatic and project-related budget adjustments, there are 9 proposed personnel-related items, 5 new positions, as well as 4 position reclassifications. These changes are detailed in Exhibit 11 on pages 35 through 47 of the agenda report, and Exhibit 12, which is pages 48 through 52, contain the authorizing City Council resolution for these changes, along with the amended citywide classification and compensation index. So given these details, staff's recommendation for this item D5 is to receive and file the fiscal year 23-24 first quarter financial report and adopt 3 resolutions, the first for the city, amending the operating budgets for fiscal year 23-24 and 24-25, as well as the capital budgets for fiscal year 22-23 and 23-24. The second resolution for Buena Sanitation District would amend the operating budgets for fiscal year 23-24 and 24-25. And the last resolution to authorize amendment to the citywide classification and compensation index and repealing provisions of any resolutions in conflict herewith. And with that, staff is available for any questions.
Councilmember Contreras.
Thank you so much for the report. I do have a question regarding the water bag tree program. This is actually kind of exciting. Do we currently have any water bag tree situation in the ground right now?
Yes, there are a number of trees that have been planted along Vale Terrace Drive and Bringle Terrace Park, as well as over off of Hacienda Drive near the BPO that have water bags.
And speaking in financial terms, is this our first tranche of water bags?
Yes, this is our foyer into the water bag world.
Okay, cool. Well, it looks like they're doing well.
So far.
Okay, and seeing that, they're doing well, we're going to keep an eye on it. In the future, I know that, our public, it was like one of their top 3. It's always trees, more and more trees, and I'm totally into it. And the huge issue has been where there's no irrigation, you have the cost to connect, and a water meter is, north of $25,000. Who knows where it's at now? Probably $65,000 at this point. So I would love to see a progress report on these water bag tree program, just to assess how they're doing, because this could really transform the way that we do urban tree planting. And as a council, it's always great when we can talk about things that unify us. And I know that we've all been, from the mayor to O'Donnell and everybody in between, we have been big proponents of more greenery. And I see Kuna from Public Works. Is there something that you would like to? Okay, just thank you so much for everything that you do, and Public Works as well. But I'm definitely excited to see progress reports come back, and then that way, when we look at our budget in the future, if this is really successful, we could go ahead and have a discussion about what does it look like to appropriate more funding, especially in areas where there aren't a lot of trees. And my big concern is areas where there's not a lot of trees and a lot of people are using the sidewalk and biking. There's a ton of examples of that throughout the city. and it would be great to shade some of those corridors. So I just appreciate taking this innovative approach, and excited to see what happens. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Franklin, and thank you, Councilmember Contreras. Really appreciate those comments as well. I wanted to see. Did it hurt? I just wanted to draw the city's attention and also the public's attention to page 50 of this report, if you would. And right at the top of page 50 of this report, and page 50 is the citywide classification and compensation index for the entire city of Vista. One of the things I'd like to do in my last year as a council member here is make sure that everybody notices the salary that a council member is paid in the city of Vista is the lowest paid position in the entire city. Maintenance worker 2 makes more. Maintenance worker 5, everybody makes more than a council member, yet we never finish working, and we put in a lot of hours. We do a whole lot of work. And you'll notice the mayor makes an extra $118 per month for all of his personal requests. I just wanted to bring this forward because I feel like the city doesn't understand this job for us is pretty much like a part-time pay job that we all do full-time. And when it comes to getting good candidates to do this job and taking the amount of time away from them that it takes, people should be compensated for their time. I'm not looking for more money for myself, but I do feel like my council members should probably be compensated a little more for their time, which would allow them to do more for the city. We all have second jobs. I don't know if maybe one of us doesn't right now, but most of us should probably have a second job really soon anyways, but we all have to have other jobs in order to support our families. I'm married with 4 kids, 2 grandkids, sole income of my family, and the time that I give to the city is a lot. The $3,118 per month that a council member is paid as a base salary, I personally feel like is not adequate. I feel like the $3,200 that my mayor makes as a salary is not adequate. And I just wanted to be on the record with that because I feel like before I exit this council, I want to do some studies on what executive board members are paid for the amount of hours that they do. And I really feel like from a budgetary standpoint, with the amount of meetings that are on us, the time constraint on us, and also the pressure and stress that we all have to deal with on a daily basis, these elected officials should be compensated more. And we don't get raises and stuff like typical people. We have to kind of do it out in front of the public. So just so the public is aware, news, if you're listening, Joe Green's going to be asking for more money for his city council and his mayor in the future. That's all. I second the motion. I thank you for all of your work, and I hope that the citizens of Vista and the community surrounding San Diego realize the problem we have in politics is that getting good people to do these jobs requires good people to get paid to do these jobs. Thank you.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
I had no intention of talking about our salary right now, but I do just want to echo something that you said, and that is this is a full-time job, regardless of it being a part-time pay. I'm married, I have a wife and a child, I work a full-time position outside of the council. I know that we all signed up to do this, but it is still very strenuous day in and day out, and we do lose a lot of people that would otherwise be good stewards, not that any of us aren't, but we're not always going to be here, and people that would be good stewards to the community, they can't afford to take a position that requires 40 to 60 hours a week, constantly responding to people. Like I genuinely love doing it, so I'm just saying that to Councilmember Green's point, I mean it is a lot of work. So I don't know if I'm quite gonna second what you're saying quite yet, because I don't know where you're going. I know. I'm just saying. I did just have a quick question. I don't want to be the Grinch around Christmas time, but how much do we spend yearly in repair? I mean, if you don't have this offhand, just a rough number, what do we spend yearly on the wave as far as repairs and maintenance and all the other stuff that goes into it?
I don't have that right at my fingertips. Give me a second. I can, let's see. Yeah, it's a bit too summarized on the combined income statement. I'd have to.
You don't have to get,
But-
it's a lot of money, and I know that public pools hemorrhage money, and I'm not suggesting that we don't keep the water park or that we get rid of the water park, but I would like to have a larger discussion with this council about the future of the wave and what our long-term projects for it are, because it just seems like every time I look at a balance sheet, it has repairs going to the wave, and I don't know if we're recouping or recovering the amount of money that we're spending each year.
So that's a near and dear to my heart. We are concerned at the staff level about the cost of operating the wave. I have directed our Parks Director, Mr. Pacheco, to do an evaluation of the wave. We'll be bringing a contract to council in January, I believe, to evaluate the critical needs of the wave moving forward versus things that we may be able to put off, because we do need to have a conversation about the wave and long-term use of the facility. So we'll evaluate it and we'll come back with that report so we can make a better judgment decision on what to do with the wave in the future.
I appreciate that. And do we know offhand, I know we had it recently, I just don't remember what it was, the average or the individual cost to get into the wave for an adult and a child?
20, I think it's.
I don't have it off the top of my head. I believe it's like $17.
Yeah, that adults were 24.
I can look it up.
17 and 24, right? My point is, it gets expensive. You have a single parent with a couple kids, or even a family with 3 or 4 kids, whatever it might be. It gets expensive and almost unattainable to even enjoy the wave for all the money that we are investing in it. So I just want to have a larger discussion about it, just to see what our future plans are.
It is also worth mentioning too, though, staff's talked about doing a comparison with other agencies if they have just a city pool, because many times those facilities are going to operate at a loss. Probably not at as deep a loss as the wave operates as, but it doesn't have the same level of amenities. But that would probably be something we would bring when we had that deeper discussion.
I know an ice arena would operate at a loss, but if you built one, I'd be a lot happier, since I wouldn't have to drive to La Jolla every Sunday to play hockey. I'm just saying, I'm not asking for anybody to approve it. I'm just saying, I understand.
The general admission price is $24.
Is that for an adult and a child?
For someone over 42 inches. If you're under 42 inches, it's $19.
Okay. I appreciate that information. I'll turn the mic over to Councilmember Green.
Yeah, we do have some reduced fare tickets, I think, for.
There are fares for seniors that are 14.
Yeah.
There's a happy hour. There's military. There's a number of discounts.
I join you in your concern for fiscal accountability when it comes to wave. I will tell you, don't get in the way of the water polo team. I had an experience earlier this year, which would remind me that that's not a good idea. I know, but our high schools use the pool, and the wave has always lost money. But we've always looked at the operating subsidy as what would it cost us to operate a municipal swimming pool. And we've felt in past years, and I'd like to see the number again, but we've felt that the subsidy to the wave was similar to the operating cost of a municipal swimming pool, and provides benefits to the kids in the schools for their aquatics programs. So right now, it's the only swimming pool we have. We were supposed to get at least one, if not, was it 2 swimming pools under Measure LL? Anyway, we did not get any swimming pools under Measure LL, which is a totally separate issue. But there's nowhere else for the kids to do their swimming. I join you in concern. You know, one of the things I think running a water park is a really unique business, and we have great people at the water park. Please do not misunderstand. Love all of our people at the Wave, but we're not really in the business of running a water park. And I've always wondered, if we were to work with a professional amusement park operator, maybe we'd actually be able to make more money. There are people that do this professionally, and I think probably it's not so much in the operations component as it is in the marketing and sales component, the side of the part of the park that happens outside of the park. Those are the parts that I think that we could probably benefit from a more robust, a partnership with somebody that knows how to make that work. Anyway, I join you in your question there. Councilmember Green.
Thank you so much. And $24 is like an hour and a half worth of work for a council person. So it's really steep just for one person to go down the wave. Just wanted to throw that out there. But I also wanted to bring that up too from an outside operator perspective, because I think I've spoken with city manager about it as well. You know, we got Raging Waters, Wild Rivers, you know, these people who actually run water parks. However, when you talk about the community benefit, if we had an outside operator, my question would be, what would the cost be to rent the pools for our sports teams, and is that similar to the loss that we're taking annually?
So, no, the money that we get from the sports teams doesn't cover our deficit annually typically.
Oh, no, I didn't get that. I'm just saying, like, if an outside operator ran this and we had to pay them to rent it.
So we've approached a number of outside operators to consider operating the Wave. What they would like to do in order to make the Wave profitable is expand the facility and put in different rides and entertainment factors that they could bring in bigger crowds. Unfortunately, there's no space to do that. So all of the operators that we've approached, and we've talked to all of them, about 5 years ago, we did a significant outreach. If we can't expand it, they're not interested.
Okay, and I like the idea of just kind of looking into it. If it's more fiscally responsible to have less water slides and maybe just a flow area and some pools or whatever, I like it. So anyways, with that said, I know we have a motion, a second on the floor. I know you did a fantastic job with this end of year report. Really appreciate you bringing it forward, and I'm looking forward to voting on it and having some tacos this evening.
We have a motion, a second. Please cast your votes. The motion is approved unanimously. We're now at the second oral communications opportunity. Do we have anybody? Seeing none, we'll close the second oral communications opportunity, and we'll go to comments from staff. Does our deputy clerk have any comments this evening? City clerk?
Just like to wish everyone happy holidays.
Thank you. City attorney?
Yeah, happy holidays. Hopefully you have a lot of joy in the holidays, get some rest, and look forward to working with you in 2024.
City Manager Conley?
Thank you, Mayor. Just note that the city will be closed the holiday week between Christmas and New Year's. The Recreation Office, Vistix, and the McClellan Senior Center will remain open, but the Civic Center will be closed. The Winterfest on Main Street is Sunday downtown from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The city and the Vista Fire Department will have booths, and you can meet firefighters and visit with city staff, so we welcome everyone to come to that. Visit discovervista.com for more information. Last, the city's next traffic safety community meeting will be held tomorrow night, the 13th at 6 p.m. at the Morris B. Vance Community Room. Here at the Civic Center, we'll be focusing on traffic safety in District 3, and we welcome the public to come to that meeting as well. Again, you can visit the calendar at cityofvista.com for information on that event. Thank you.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Tomorrow, I normally don't give a shout out for chamber mixers, but it is in my district at CoLab from 5 to 7:30. So if you're available, please join us for the Chamber of Commerce mixer over at CoLab. Just a quick Cal Cities update. They had a meeting the other day. I want to thank Melda Huerta for her notes on this because I was unable to attend the meeting, and they are great notes. But just a few things. They discussed the 2024 advocacy priority list to safeguard local revenues, strengthen climate change resiliency and initiatives, improve public safety in California communities, and expand on investments to prevent and reduce homelessness. San Diego Board of Supervisors have delayed the implementation of the Care Court by 1 year. I support that because I don't think there's the infrastructure for that program to support it, so hopefully we can figure that out. Advocacy to the federal government continues regarding the sewage spill at the Tijuana River Basin as well, so they're going to continue working on that. The only legislation that there's a whole list of stuff they're supporting, and I can send this over to our city manager to share. But the improvement of public safety in California communities, they want to work with the state to advance a policy to help reduce crime, increase emergency service capacity, and provide more support to those residents that are struggling with substance abuse, to work with the governor and allies to reform Prop 47, not eliminate it, but to reform it in a way that will not include mass incarceration, but work with individuals that are in severe need of substance abuse within our unsheltered population. So just wanted to bring those highlights from that meeting. For those that don't know, Jessica Bench, who was one of our management analysts, recently took a position outside of the city of Vista. For her own privacy, I will not share where that is, but I just want to thank her for her dedication and service to the city of Vista. It is a tremendous loss, and I wish her very well with any endeavor moving forward. The softball fields on Shadow Ridge and Melrose recently had, I don't know who, but someone thought it'd be fun to drive down the hill and do donuts in the middle of the fields. And so I just want to thank our parks team, Mike Pacheco, as well as Chris RC, as well as the streets and stormwater team who worked on their day off to go put boulders along the hill on the side of Shadow Ridge where they drove down to prevent that from happening again. So I just want to give you all a shout out and thank you very much for your hard work. As always, I know we alluded it to this evening, but we all do have a great sacrifice that we make for this position. So I want to thank my wife for allowing me to be here. Allie, if you're at home, I'll be home in probably half an hour. So, well, not that if you're at home. I know you're at home. I'll bring you some tacos. She's at home with Caleb. So aside from that, yeah, I know. I don't know now. It's. I'm going to end my comments quickly. All right, so everybody, Merry Christmas. However you celebrate them, I want to wish you all very happy holidays and a very safe and wonderful new year. And I look forward to seeing you all next month.
Deputy Mayor Melendez.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to say thank you to my council and for the appointment to Deputy Mayor. I understand that there are divisions amongst our council, and if there's anything that I can do in this next year to bring more unity, to bring more consensus building, to bring more community engagement, to facilitate shorter meetings and quicker business, then I will actively work on that. My goal is the city's goals. We have some really impressive goals when it comes to housing and homelessness, when it comes to traffic and infrastructure and the movement of people through our community, when it comes to our parks and our green spaces. So I'm committed to working on our city goals with the mayor. And although I know that there are differences of opinions and we stand toe to toe, my friend, we have incredible debates that I think are very invigorating for me, and I hope that they are positive for you and facilitate growth in all of us. And despite those differences, I know that our mayor is honorable, and I just hope and ask that I would be offered all of the opportunities that a deputy mayor is offered. Even though you didn't vote for me tonight, I know that that will be the case, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to work with you in the next year. So I just wanted to say thank you, and it will be an honor to serve our community as deputy mayor.
Councilmember Contreras.
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, and Happy Holidays. The only thing I have to report from North County Transit District is after a very long process, of which I was part of the executive committee to hire a new CEO, I look forward to that announcement being made in the near future. And I also hope that everybody has a really great rest of your night. And thank you, Councilmember O'Donnell, for always having like 7 pages to report back when we're trying to leave. But it's, I know you take it very seriously, your reporting duties. So, yeah. And you know what? You've brought some really great bits from League of Cities. I think it's because of the Leo zodiac thing, but it's great. I love it. And to the rest of the council, I hope that you have a very safe rest of the year. And unless we see each other out in the community, we won't see each other until sometime next year. So everybody take care. And as Joe Green always says, go get those tacos.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Green.
Oh, I was recognized on the day. I was just waiting. It's parliamentary procedure or whatever. Anyways, first of all, I also serve on the board, the Encina Waste Association, and I want to make sure that you guys know when it comes to your doo-doo, rates are going to be going up. So cost of construction over the last 5 years has increased 25%. I sit on the Capital Improvement Committee, and I get to see all of their long-term visions and goals for like upgrades and updates. And, you know, bids that came in at $8 million are coming in at $13 million now. And as the majority shareholder in this organization, I just want to make sure that our, council and also our citizens know there is going to be a rate increase on the horizon just due to inflation and big, construction costs. So that was something that I definitely thought about. And I know tomorrow at this meeting, our mayor is going to cause a little ruckus about a bill that's a lot higher than it should be. So that's number one. The other thing is, if you make my meetings shorter, Deputy Mayor Melendez, I will reappoint you every year of your life, even if I'm not here. So that is definitely a big deal. Also, I will be out of town from the 13th through the 17th, which makes me so sad because Palo Vista Park is opening on Saturday. And it was supposed to be open the week before I went on vacation. However, due to our contractor, yep, I'll say it, him, I won't be there at the grand opening, but I encourage everyone to attend. It is a gorgeous park. If you drive down Civic Center Drive, you see our gorgeous wrought iron fence, great play facilities. There's going to be a restroom over there now too, thanks to the amazing city council here. So I'm excited to play on the jungle gym when I get back. Lastly, two more things. Just have to do with staff. I know that we talk about staff a lot. We talk about things we can improve, but I also want to highlight staff. As a council collectively, we've talked about our media, our publications, and our communications with community. And I just want to shout out Fred and Aaron of our media team. Thank you so much, Fred. He's been coming up with new innovative ways to get the council out in front of the community. He's also been coming up with new ways to videographer things so that they're more engaging on different platforms and social media. And I feel like it's really translated to more engagement with us as a community and with our staff. So thank you so much, Fred and Aaron. The other members of staff I want to thank is Mike Pacheco and Josh Sino Cruz. They attended Vista Girls softball walkthrough with the president and vice president with me about some conditions there that are definitely not the best. We're supposed to be laser leveling that field, and unfortunately, the people who peeled out in the field are delaying the laser leveling of the field. But Mike Pacheco and Josh Sino Cruz showed up on site. They listened to all of the community's concerns. They listened to all of the headaches. They listened to very little praise, but they definitely committed to make change for Vista Girls softball and for our community. And for that, they showed up after hours at night. It was cold, probably their day off because we're closed every other Friday, and they made a huge difference. So just having staff actually be boots on the ground and work so hard for our community to actually make a tangible difference that we get glory for, but you guys are really doing a lot of work for it. So shout out to those two departments. Thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas. You'll have some cookies from the family very, very soon. Goodbye. Oh, wait, that was the last one. Love you, Jen. Merry Christmas. It's here. I put it. Love you, Jen. Merry Christmas.
I want to join you in your remarks in recognizing our excellent staff here at the City of Vista. I know that this entire council and all of us on the dais want to wish our employees very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and other holidays that are celebrated this time of year. We're hoping that you have a joyous time with family. Palo Vista Park, where this city purchased 3 homes that were flop houses where drugs were being sold and consumed, a piece of land that is in the prime entryway of our city that was very blighted. One of the best things I think we've done in many years was buy that piece of land and create a beautiful park with the largest playground structure of any park in the city of Vista, much larger. In fact, I measured it than Bringle Terrace. I'm quite certain this council never approved that, but somewhere along the way, our landscape engineer ran amok, and now we have something that is substantially larger than anyone ever expected in a park with no parking. So at some point in the future, we may have to do, it's a good-looking park, but I'm quite sure that what got built there was not what we approved. But I'm glad it's there. I'm very proud of it. It's something beautiful, and I think it's one of the greatest success stories that we have as a council. So I would encourage everyone to show up Saturday the 10th I'm sorry, Saturday the 18th, right? Oh, it's Vista's, where's the date? The date's not here? Oh, this Saturday at 10 a.m. I should read the script. It is this coming Saturday, the 16th, at 10 a.m. at 234 Palo Vista Drive. Truly a great success story for the city. Join us at the McClellan Senior Center Friday, December 15th, 5 to 7 p.m. for Holly Jingle Mingle for live music and holiday treats. The city's official holiday event, Jingle Terrace Live, is now open at the Moonlight Amphitheater through December 23rd. This year, the event has been expanded with live entertainment and more light displays in the amphitheater. It's a free event. Come on down with the family to the Moonlight and check that out. For more information on these events and others, visit the city's calendar at cityofvista.com. I want to say, Deputy Mayor Melendez, although I expressed my reasons for not supporting the vote, I do look forward to working with you, and I certainly, I want to say, I genuinely believe this year we have, all five of us, made some progress in disagreeing more agreeably. No, look, I respect the fact that you have different philosophies that bring you to different points of view, different experiences in life that bring you to different opinions. It is okay, and it is what's good about our democratic republic, that we all have different points of view and that we have figured out a way to come together and make decisions in a way that's peaceful and hopefully civil. And I think we've all done a better job. I hope you think I've done a slightly better job of trying to improve civility. It is a goal of mine for us to be able to express, and I think voters always want to hear us talk. It's why I tried to tonight, to talk to the issues and the substance and stay away from the ad hominem attacks, because at the end of the day, people really want to understand what the decisions are that we're making up here, what's at stake. So I think when we speak to the issues, that's incredibly important for the benefit of our families who we all want to go home to. I have a thought, which I'm going to throw out there, not as a formal proposal, but just to think about. I think perhaps if we all spoke for we could speak unlimited number of times, but if we were to all speak for 5 minutes at a time and be recognized for 5 minutes and then yield to the next member waiting, and then if you'd like to speak an unlimited number of times, but I think it would sort of force us to maybe crystallize our thoughts a little bit, and I think it might ultimately yield shorter meetings, and then we might have to decide whether what we wanted to say was important enough to come back to it again. And if you need to speak 3 times, speak 15 minutes, but it might help move things along. I just want to throw that out there. We can come back and talk about that. In fact, let's go ahead because there's 3 members that said that they want shorter meetings. Some of the meetings have gone really late, and it's 4 members. I don't think we make as sharp of decisions when we're here till midnight. Certainly some of the members of our community, that is not possible for them to, and people leave, that they're waiting to make comments. They want to participate in events, and they wind up leaving because it's 11 or midnight, and it's not fair to them. So I think we owe it to the community to be a little bit more concise. So I would love to, let's bring that back and let's talk about how we can do that, and we can all share our ideas. I thank Fred Tracy for letting us know about the passing of Jim Malone. We want to adjourn our meeting this evening in his memory. He is a longtime Vista resident, a respected educator, a swim coach in the Vista Unified School District. For decades, Mr. Malone was involved at the Moonlight Amphitheater, where his family practiced on stage and behind the scenes. Jim Malone passed away on Saturday at the age of 86. He started volunteering at the Moonlight in 1981, eventually becoming the theater's master carpenter. He also built sets for both high schools. The sets he built were indestructible. Jim and Carlotta Malone celebrated 60 years of marriage in March, an incredible feat. Jim Malone leaves behind an amazing family, as well as countless numbers of students and athletes on whom he made a tremendous impact in Vista. We adjourn tonight in his memory.